Our story begins here, with a running competition taking place at school. The female students are cheering on the sidelines. Someone has reached the finish line. In just 2 minutes and 36.79 seconds, that is Xing, the main character of this story. The female students immediately cheer like crazy fans. He looks calm as he pours water over himself. That only makes them go even crazier. The female students cannot help but scream even louder. A girl walks up and hands him a towel to wipe his sweat. She looks extremely delighted when he takes it. While wiping himself, he checks the system panel. He received plus 20 running experience, and his running skill reached level 3 with 258 out of 800 experience points. The experience gained is slightly higher than usual. Then he notices something else. His charm points have increased by 45. He frowns in disgust, seeing how fast this useless skill leveled up. Suddenly, a ball is thrown towards him. He blocks it with the palm of his hand. Someone intentionally threw it. Although he doesn't know why, looking at that guy's expression, the reason is probably standing right behind him. Xing's friend walks over and asks what happened. His friend also asks if Xing knows that guy. His friend is Li Guo, and he stiffens the moment he recognizes that guy. It is Pei Yu Kuang. Li Guo immediately asks why Xing had to mess with him. He sighs and assumes it is because of some girl again. He tells Xing to just accept one and save himself from drawing hatred from the entire school. But Xing has no interest in that. Li Guo points out that even if Xing doesn't, the guys around him clearly do. He also warns that Yu Kuang is not someone to be messed with and asks what he plans to do. Xing replies that he is just going to exercise. Li Guo almost screams that exercising is useless and Xing must practice martial arts instead. It might be useless to others, but Xing is different. A month ago, he inexplicably arrived in a world almost identical to Earth. Along with him was a translucent panel, and here effort truly pays off. His hard work is never wasted. As long as he practices enough, he can activate the corresponding skills. He has met the requirements and unlocked the level 1 aiming skill. Although daily training brings immense benefits, the consumption is also massive. And when he opens the refrigerator, it is completely empty. He didn't train this hard just to look cool. The place he lives is called the 5th Urban Ring. Because it is a ring, there is an inner area and an outer area. The further out you go, the poorer and more desolate the place becomes. The further in, the more prosperous and noble. He still has half a year until graduation. He can fight to get into the inner ring or live in poverty his whole life. It is time to make a choice. Xing goes out to buy groceries and the total bill is 210. It makes him turn pale, and he decides to take some items out of the basket so as not to exceed the budget. He cannot believe that 5 eggs cost 30. He mutters that this is crazy. While walking through a dark alley, something suddenly jumps out. It is a stray cat. It lands right in front of him like a professional scammer blocking the way. But then he notices the scars. The cat is covered in wounds as if it just lost a battle. Then the cat speaks, complaining that it didn't expect the world of stray cats to be this cruel. Xing freezes, mainly because the cat just spoke. It talked. He wonders what on earth is wrong with this cat. Then he notices the rings on its tail. When he touches it, the system detects a divine substance. He absorbs the divinity. The planet he is on is called Earthstar, a world also known by another name, huh? 2 months ago, God died. On that day, all humans on Earthstar witnessed that scene with their own eyes. They rejoiced. When the gods died, humanity finally stood on its own feet. And Xing will grind his way up until he himself becomes a god. At Xing's house, he gives the cat some cat food. But it refuses to eat. In fact, it looks at the bowl with clear disdain. Xing feels annoyed. He cannot believe this stray cat won't even touch it. Then he remembers an important thing. This cat can talk. He realizes it isn't just a cat. He goes into the kitchen and begins to cook. While working, he receives plus 20 cooking experience. He chops vegetables and cooks everything over high heat. Soon after, he places a bowl of rice with shredded pork and green peppers in front of the cat. The moment the cat sees it, it starts drooling. It eats happily. Xing wears a smug expression, satisfied that he was right. He realizes the reason it can speak human language is very simple. It isn't a cat. It is a human who turned into a cat. And as for the reason, he suspects it has to do with the rings on its tail. Suddenly, the system notifies him that the divinity absorption is complete. The divine skill, Twin Lives, is inactive, but requires divinity to activate. 525 out of 50, he has met the requirements. And the system asks if he wants to activate it? No need to think twice. He presses yes. The screen glows brightly before notifying him that the Twin Live skill has been successfully activated. Xing frowns, not sure what it actually does. The passive effect of Twin Lives grants him 2 lives. After dying, he can choose a resurrection time within 7 days. The cooldown is 3 months. He stares at the panel in disbelief. This is essentially a resurrection armor. If the passive effect is already this strong, the active skill must be incredibly overpowered. Unfortunately, the active skill is still locked. It requires divinity to unlock, and he only has 25 out of 500. Xing glances at the cat and briefly considers draining the rest of its divinity, but looking closer, he realizes how badly injured it is. That makes him hesitate. Continuing to drain it right now would be inhumane. So he decides to find another way. However, he cannot just let the cat go. He plans to go out first to find clues related to divinity and see what the cat will do while he is away. The cat is left alone in the house with a camera watching it in the outer ring. For someone in the outer ring wanting to enter the inner ring, the difficulty is absurdly high. Even if they manage to get in, they have to pay an exorbitant fee, usually enough to bankrupt a small wealthy family. Even so, countless people still flock there. But what most people don't know is that there is another way. One can become a martial artist. All problems will be solved. As Xing is walking through a dark alley, a man holding an iron pipe appears before him. Xing calmly asks if there is a problem. The bald guy turns to the blonde guy and asks if this is the person their boss Yu Kuang has his eyes on. They warn Xing that he is dead for sure. Xing can only sigh. In the blink of an eye, the bald guy falls down. Everyone is stunned. They didn't even see Xing move. The blonde guy is attacked next. Then the third person is struck right in the forehead. Xing hasn't even stepped forward. He is just throwing pebbles. Combined with the aiming skill, Xing's eyes are activated. When the man swings a punch, Xing dodges in time. Luckily he did, because the punch shatters the ground where he just stood. That isn't brute force, that is martial arts. The man becomes irritated because this kid is too agile. On the other hand, Xing feels relieved. If Yu Kuang knows martial arts, it saves him the trouble of finding someone to ask. He steps forward and tells the man to explain everything he knows. Otherwise, Xing won't hold back. The next thing we know, Yu Kuang is slammed into the ground. He tremblingly promises to confess everything he knows. Xing smirks. He thought this guy was tough. But after all that showing off, it turns out he only has one move. Yu Kuang continuously throws punches. Xing quickly realizes that after all this time, that is truly his only move. However, thanks to him, Xing has met the requirements and activated a skill. Yu Kuang, fighting, aiming, not only sharpens your dynamic vision, it also improves the accuracy of your punches. Dealing with a martial artist of Yu Kuang's level is more than enough. Before long, Yu Kuang is begging him to stop hitting him. Xing asks what move that punch was. Yu Kuang nervously explains that it wasn't a move at all, but internal force. It is the act of gathering energy from the entire body and releasing it outward through a technique. Xing asks how to practice it, and the pathetic guy, he repeats the rumors about Yu Kuang, like smoking, drinking, perming hair, arson, murder, and even breakdancing. That makes Xing doubt how such a ruthless person could be subdued so easily. Yu Kuang hurriedly explains that those are all rumors. He needed them to build an image. If they were true, there is no way he would still be allowed to go to school. Xing slaps him and warns that if Yu Kuang forgets today's lesson, he will beat him every time they meet in the future. He adds that since Yu Kuang likes bullying classmates, he has to write a self-reflection paper when he gets home. Then, he must read it 10 times in front of the class during tomorrow's morning reading session. One of his underlings must record it so Xing can check later. Yu Kuang's face is swollen, tears streaming down as he swears to obey everything Xing says. When Xing moves again, Yu Kuang thinks another beating is coming and screams, telling him not to hit him anymore. But Xing just bends down and takes his phone. He searches for the martial arts dojo's address. Since Yu Kuang couldn't clearly explain internal force, Xing decides to go there himself and ask. That night in the city's inner ring, Xing follows the map precisely. The system tells him to turn right after 120 meters. The system notifies that he has experienced a battle. He receives plus 109 physical points and plus 50 aiming experience. He feels refreshed, receiving plus 33 wellness points. He also meets the requirements to unlock the combat skill. On top of that, he receives plus 68 combat experience. His stats have been updated. Physique reached level 2 with 431 out of 500 points. Wellness reached level 1 with 269 out of 300 points. Cooking is at level 2 with 279 out of 500 points. Running reached level 3 with 502 out of 800 points. Aiming reached level 1 with 208 out of 300 points. And combat is unlocked at level 1 with 68 out of 300 points. Normally, grinding hard at the gym for an hour only increases by about 200. Pausing for a bit, and we will be back. We can activate internal force within the body. Only when the QE circulates completely is a person considered truly initiated. Xing's eyes light up. This foundational cultivation method is exactly what he is looking for. He leans in close and whispers to the receptionist, asking if he can join. She blushes as he gets closer. It is obvious she finds him handsome. She says he can join, but warns him not to overdo it. From that brief exchange, his charm receives plus 30 experience points. He thanks her and heads to an empty mat. He listens attentively as the master speaks. The receptionist watches worriedly, unsure if Xing can endure it since this is his first contact with martial arts. They are instructed to inhale as deeply as possible and then hold their breath. The receptionist secretly hopes at least one student will succeed. Otherwise, the master will blame her for wasting his time. When the master counts to 37, a few students have given up. The others grimace as they try to hold on. She feels disappointed when even Kui Zhengyuan, whom she had the highest hopes for, eventually gives up. The master's expression darkens as he walks toward her. She hurriedly begs him for a few more days, promising that she will find a suitable disciple. But to her surprise, he walks right past her. He tells her to be quiet. There is still a kid holding on. He stops in front of Xing. Only then does Xing realize the truth. The breathing method sounds simple, but it is brutally difficult. A massive amount of oxygen rushes into his lungs. Without strong lung capacity, one isn't even qualified to practice. Inside his body, the true Kui constantly expands, swelling up as if it is about to explode. Time's up. Xing slowly exhales. The system notifies that he has activated the internal force skill, currently at 69 out of 200. When he opens his eyes, the master and the receptionist have surrounded him. They ask how he feels and if he has any discomfort. He answers honestly. On the contrary, he feels refreshed. The receptionist asks for his name and then asks if he wants to join the Golden Wind Dojo. Suddenly, the glass window shatters. Something has barged inside. It is a giant flying insect, and it immediately devours one of the students. Everyone is paralyzed with terror. No one can comprehend what they are seeing. The master reacts first. He opens the door and yells for everyone to leave immediately. He calls the receptionist, Miss Zhang, to help maintain order. Blood splatters everywhere. The monster turns its attention to her. Xing doesn't hesitate. He rushes forward to save her. Together, they fall to the ground. Pinned beneath him. She feels relieved and strangely somewhat happy. She even wants to be pinned by him forever. Thus, Xing's charm points increase by 20. In that moment, he recalls what Yuquang once said. Internal force gathers energy from every part of the body, then releases it outward through a single move. This is the perfect opportunity to test it. So Xing does. The giant beetle-like monster charges straight at Xing. He punches its head. The impact creates a fierce gust of wind. Xing hopes this thing isn't like a cockroach, which can withstand hundreds of times its own body weight. If so, then pure brute force won't work. He needs to focus all his power into a single point. He adjusts immediately. The next punch crushes its outer shell. The system notifies that he has activated Inch Punch, currently at 80 out of 200. The monster is knocked backward. It lets out a loud screech. Its blood splatters all over the room. Only then does Xing realize the truth. It looks terrifying, but it is much weaker than it appears. Miss Zhang stares at him in shock. However, the master looks worried. Xing has just grasped Qi, but he released a massive amount all at once. His body won't be able to endure that kind of pressure. The monster regains its footing and lets out another furious screech. Xing can tell. It still wants to fight. He calmly declares that the result won't change no matter how many times it tries. Qi surges through his meridians and gathers in his arm. The pain hits immediately. His chest tightens, and he suddenly coughs up blood. Something is wrong. The monster charges again. That is when Xing realizes he has pushed himself too far. A sense of alarm rises within him as he watches it close the distance. Then unexpectedly, someone intervenes. In a flash, the monster's body is sliced in half. Xing is stunned in disbelief. A woman steps forward and introduces herself. She is from the White Fang Squad, captain of Squad 838, codenamed Void Blade. Her team has secured the area and orders all unrelated personnel to evacuate immediately. This is the first time Xing has heard of the White Fang Squad. Killing that cockroach-like monster in one strike only means one thing. The people in this organization are terrifyingly strong. Void Blade glances at Xing and quickly evaluates him. He looks only 17 or 18, but severely injured the monster with his bare hands. Moreover, she finds him very handsome. She starts finding reasons to recruit him. She walks over and hands him a slip of paper. At 5 p.m. on Sunday, she wants him to come to the address written on it. She promises to tell him what he wants to know. Xing takes the paper. Written on it are the words, Qingcheng Library, 7th floor. Outside the dojo, Miss Zhang hurriedly runs over and asks if Xing is all right. Worried about him, she insists on taking him to her house. Realizing what she just said, she changes it to going to the hospital for a checkup. He reassures her that he is fine. He thanks her for letting him visit the dojo, then he leaves. She calls after him, telling him to come back tomorrow. But the master silently shakes his head. He feels it is unlikely. A kid who came into contact with Qi for the first time yet displayed such strength. A small dojo like theirs simply cannot keep someone like him. As Xing walks down the street, the system constantly sends notifications. He receives plus 29 physical experience, plus 89 wellness experience, and plus 50 charm points. He also receives plus 98 combat experience, bringing combat to 166 out of 300. He has met the requirements to activate Inch Punch. The concept of Inch Punch is very simple. Gather Qi into one point, then accelerate to maximum speed within the shortest distance. If used correctly, even the toughest defense can be broken. Qin wants to experience it again. He tries activating it once more. Immediately, a wave of nausea hits him. He recalls the master's earlier scolding for abusing Qi like that. Xing decides not to court death. He will get a proper rest and see how things go tomorrow. After learning about the White Fang Squad and that snake-like monster, he can't help but wonder how many secrets this world is hiding from him. In the end, he decides to visit that address over the weekend. When he gets home, he notices light shining from the window. He checks his phone and sees what the cat is doing. It is sitting in front of his computer. The moment Xing walks in and speaks, the cat startles and jumps up. He asks why it is messing with his computer. Caught red-handed, the cat still tries to play dumb. That only annoys Xing. Since the cat refuses to explain, Xing decides to settle the score after getting some sleep. He lies down on the bed. The cat tilts its head, sensing something is wrong. It smells blood on him. Did he get into a fight? That thought immediately upsets the cat. She has already claimed him as hers. Who dares to bully her person? She jumps onto Xing's stomach and demands to know what happened. She tells him he must speak up. No matter who it is, she, Ning Fengni, the boss of Dragon Gate, will seek justice for him. Xing calmly confirms one thing first. So it really can talk. He admits that he always knew it was a human. But he is exhausted. They can talk after he wakes up. And just like that, he falls asleep. Fengni angrily yells at him, telling him he should at least explain before sleeping until the next day. Xing's stamina has completely recovered. They chat while eating. Through this, Fengni learns that he wasn't beaten by anyone. Instead, he defeated a monster. Xing nods in confirmation. She frowns. She has never heard of monsters freely roaming the city. Xing reaches out and rubs her head. He thanks her for worrying about him. She immediately blushes when he calls her name, pretending to be tough. She says he is not allowed to call her so casually. He must address her respectfully. As the boss, she demands that he call her Lady Ni. Xing plays along. Since she can speak now, he finally brings up another matter. He wants an explanation for what she was doing in the video on his computer. Her eyes widen. Cold sweat breaks out as she freezes on the spot. The thing on Fengni's tail is called the cattail ring, a divine artifact. She was looking up information about it. He reaches out and touches her tail. She screams. 287 years ago, God died. It is said that the leftover golden specks of light are divine artifacts. He had only heard stories about them before, but now he is seeing one with his own eyes. Now he finally understands how it could absorb divinity. She asks how long he plans on pinching her tail. He feels a bit embarrassed and pulls his hand back. He asks if she was looking for a user manual for it. She says she doesn't want to use it. She wants to take it off. She explains that Dragon Gate is the largest gang in Qingcheng. They don't just control entertainment venues. They also cooperate with martial arts dojos to run drug businesses. Their growth was too fast. And that attracted jealousy. She was attacked right in her own mansion. Someone put that thing on her, and she turned into a cat. And by the time she struggled to escape, Dragon Gate had fallen into someone else's hands. She can only return to her human form if the ring is removed, and she wants those people dead. He asks what she plans to do next. He says that if the answers can't be found online, then the library is probably a dead end too. She tells him she already has a plan. The plan is for him to practice martial arts and become strong. He asks what that has to do with removing the ring. She explains that once he becomes strong, various organizations will seek him out. And among them, there might be someone who possesses a divine artifact. By tracing those connections, they might eventually find a way to remove the cattail ring. He smirks upon hearing that people will come knocking on his door. So she plans to introduce him to the best martial arts dojo. She asks if he has heard of Hidden Dragon Dojo. He says yes, back when he wanted to learn martial arts. He checked the tuition fees of every dojo in Qingcheng. Hidden Dragon Dojo was the most expensive of them all. But that isn't what he remembers the most. What he remembers is the overwhelming amount of terrible reviews. She snorts and says those people are trash. They couldn't endure the grueling training. So of course they failed. She adds that in true martial arts circles, no one looks down on Hidden Dragon Dojo. He asks how to get in. She says the answer is very simple. Follow the rules of the martial world. Challenge the dojo. He looks at her in disbelief and asks if they will really accept him after he smashes the place up. She looks at him as if he is hopeless and says that challenging the dojo is just an interview. Disciples are divided into many ranks. Some pay to get in. But even if they practice seriously, it is meaningless without talent. Others have talent but lack true capability. If it takes 10 or 8 years just to become competent, it would still be useless. On the path of martial arts, mindset is the most important. Only someone with an invincible spirit can throw an invincible punch. Challenging the dojo is a way to recommend oneself and is the best way to prove that spirit. She tells him to go tomorrow. She still has some things to take care of. The next day, a disciple comes to greet Xing at the entrance of Hidden Dragon Dojo. They shake hands, but the man suddenly squeezes hard. Xing feels the pressure and assumes it is a test. Since it is a test, he decides to get serious. He squeezes back with all his might. The man screams in pain and starts whining that his hand is going to break. The other students quickly gather around and burst out laughing. They tell Xing not to mind him. Apparently, that guy is a martial arts fanatic, always trying to spar with everyone he meets and losing almost every time. The man's face turns red as he is exposed by his loudmouthed friends. Only then does Xing realize this guy is just a random passerby. At that moment, the crowd suddenly parts. The old master is approaching, along with a few true disciples. The students are stunned. Even the old master has made an appearance, along with the true disciples who rarely show themselves. A few whisper nervously, wondering if something big is happening, or is the dojo about to close down. The old master is Meng Baishang. He sits in a wheelchair with a black cat lying beside him. Pushing the wheelchair is a petite woman named Zhu Shanying. On his left is a blue-haired man, Chen Fuguang. On his right is a tall man named Li Qi. Behind them is a woman named Meng Qingzhao. Xing freezes. Fengni is there. The master raises his hand and the murmurs immediately stop. He looks at Xing and asks if he came to challenge the dojo. Fengni quickly winks at Xing. Our male lead glances at her and remarks that she doesn't look bad either. The old master chuckles. It has been a long time since someone dared to challenge his dojo. He asks Xing if he believes he is qualified. Xing answers honestly. When asked like that, he truly doesn't know. From what he can see, the combat level here doesn't seem very high. Baishang decides to ask him a few questions. First is his name. Xing answers, then age, 17. More questions follow. The longer it goes on, the more nervous Xing becomes. The questions start sounding strange. strange enough that it feels less like an interview and more like a blind date. The master laughs and tells him not to worry. It is only natural to ask these things when meeting a future son-in-law. Zhu Shunying speaks up and calls the master grandpa. She says that regardless of being qualified or not, they must spar first. She looks at Xing and says she will go easy on him. Song nods he is ready. The disciples are stunned. Their little senior sister is taking action herself. In their eyes, this kid is done for. Fengni puffs her cheeks and complains that they are still fighting when it has already turned into a blind date. Shanying warns him to be careful. Fengni feels a brief moment of worry for him. A target marker appears. Shanying throws a punch, but Xing dodges it cleanly. He immediately grabs her wrist and throws her to the ground. The impact leaves her dazed. Fu Guang narrows his eyes and remarks that Xing's dynamic vision and wrestling posture are very precise. He says Xing's movements remind him of his own style when he was young. Baishang laughs happily. He praises Fengni for finding such a good seedling for an old man like him. Fengni proudly replies that it is only natural, even though deep down she was just worried about Xing. Xing turns to the master and asks if his dojo challenge is considered successful. At the same time, the system notifies that he has experienced a battle where the weak defeated the strong. He receives plus 21 combat experience, plus 121 physical experience, plus 89 wellness experience, plus 56 aiming experience, plus 139 sports experience, and plus 50 charm points. The master declares that since Xing defeated Shanying without undergoing any formal martial arts training, he is fully qualified to become a true disciple. He adds that it is time for Xing to change how he addresses them. Xing smiles. He greets the master, senior brothers, and senior sisters. Fu Guang welcomes him as their 7th junior brother. Shanying looks embarrassed. She formally introduces herself and says she underestimated him. She warns him not to get arrogant just because of one win. That is when Xing learns she used to be the youngest true disciple before his arrival. He thanks her for her guidance, and she responds with a snort. A woman walks up and addresses him as 7th young master, offering to guide him through the registration process. Xing is confused and asks why he is being called that. Baishang explains that a true disciple should never be looked down upon. From that day on, Xing is nominally an inner ring resident. Therefore, calling him 7th young master makes sense. Xing asks if they can change the title. It makes him uncomfortable. She suggests calling him Master Xing. Xing sighs and agrees. Xing sits on the sofa while Fengni comfortably rests on his lap. He tells her that challenging the dojo wasn't as hard as she said. After all, Shanying was taken down in just one move. Fengni shakes her head and says he is wrong. Shanying is actually much stronger than him. Martial arts isn't just about comparing numbers, mood, physical condition, intelligence, decision-making, and even luck can all determine victory or defeat. Xing thinks and realizes that Shanying had underestimated her opponent. Fengni agrees. If that girl had been a bit more careful and waited for Xing to make the first move, the outcome would have been very different. But a win is a win, and there is no room for dispute. Xing admits that luck played a big role and he needs to practice much more. Then he asks where she went last night. He wonders if she stayed at the dojo overnight. Fengni replies that to sneak a person in, she had to go greet Mr. Li. Xing asks why she calls him that. She casually explains that Mr. Li almost cuckolded her grandfather back in the day. Xing freezes. So he is basically the male version of a homewrecker. A staff member quickly hands Xing an ID card and says, starting tomorrow, he can enter by swiping the card at the control gate. Xing thanks her. The system notifies that the next day he receives plus 20 charm points. Rumors spread that the new kid has been training all night. They are talking about Xing. Everyone is shocked because he is so strong. He receives plus 234 experience, plus 133 wellness, plus 79 sports experience, and plus 89 internal force experience. His internal force has leveled up to level 2. He also gains a large amount of affection points, increasing charm by plus 35. Baishang trains him without holding back. Xing is forced into a horse stance while the master tells him to push a little harder. His internal force experience increases by plus 99. Just a bit more, Baishang urges, telling him not to waste the effort he put in all night. System notifications continuously pop up. Plus 99 internal force experience repeatedly. Baishang sighs in amazement and says that among all the disciples he has accepted in his life, Xing is the strongest. Soon he will be able to cultivate the technique of Hidden Dragon Dojo. Xing lies on the floor, panting heavily. As soon as he hears that, he forces himself to sit up and asks what level is needed to learn it. Baishang stares at him, realizing this kid is a true martial arts fanatic. Baishang tells him to hold out his hand. Xing assumes they are about to spar again. Instead, Baishang emits a powerful aura. His eyes turn red. Xing feels a massive surge of true qi entering his body. He doesn't know what it is doing and has no way to resist it. Baishang asks what sports Xing usually plays. Xing replies that he mostly just jogs and doesn't do much else. Xing nervously asks if there is something wrong with his body. Baishang shakes his head and says there is absolutely no problem. In fact, Xing's body is terrifyingly perfect. Every muscle, every bone, every organ is as balanced as if molded by a god with obsessive-compulsive disorder. Simply put, he is a martial arts prodigy. Xing knows the truth. It is all thanks to the system panel. After activating the combat skill, his body was transformed into this state. In a way, he truly is considered a genius. He asks again if he can start learning the cultivation technique yet. Baishang frowns and asks why he is in such a hurry. He points out that Xing has trained all night, and his body is full of injuries. Cultivating right now would be no different from seeking death. Xing asks what he should do instead. Baishang tells him to go to the resting room first, and later he will have someone bring the crouching dragon ointment. That night, someone knocks on Xing's door. It is Shan Ying. She has come to treat his injuries. Sighing freezes. He can't help but wonder why it is her and whether she has come for revenge. Shan Ying tells him to take off his shirt. Xing follows her instructions. Upon seeing his upper body, her eyes light up slightly. He is more muscular than she thought, and that reaction makes him feel somewhat flattered. She tells him to lie down. The system notifies him of plus 45 charm points. She orders him to be a good boy, lie still, and not move. She starts applying the ointment on him. Xing tells her to wait. He truly cannot understand what she is trying to do. The way she moves makes him feel like she is intentionally teasing him. She leans in close while rubbing the ointment on his chest. During this, she reveals that she is actually very competitive. His face heats up, but he realizes that despite everything, his self-control is still intact. While she's on top of him, she asks why he isn't saying anything. Xing calmly replies that as long as she is happy, it is fine. A moment later, she admits that losing to him was because she was careless. Even so, she still feels unwilling to accept it and decided to use this opportunity to tease him back a bit. The system notifies again of plus 45 charm points. She says she hopes he won't be angry with her. Xing's charm keeps increasing, but his expression looks stiff. He explains that he isn't angry, he is just in a little bit of pain, it is no big deal. She says the upper body is done and suggests he take off his pants next. As she reaches out, Xing quickly grabs her hand and says he will do it himself. She giggles, saying she was just teasing him. Seeing him panic like that is amusing. She hands him the jar of ointment and says she will leave the rest to him. Then she turns and leaves. He performs a crouching dragon horse stance session and receives plus 98 physical experience. Many identical system windows pop up one after another. Afterwards, Xing walks down the street, his whole body aching. He mutters that it is terrifying. He almost felt like he was being dismantled by that woman. The system notifies that he has leveled up. His combat level has increased to level 3 and internal force to level 4. He was just muttering that the name White Fang Squad sounds extremely childish. In reality, it is simply Qingcheng's special police organization. Even so, he cannot understand why they would want to meet at Qingcheng Library. There are rumors that it is a gathering place for underworld bosses. Some people are whispering about Blue-Eyed Panther, who just offended Dragon Gate. He doesn't even dare to blink for fear that Dragon Gate will send assassins. After all, Dragon Gate are the uncrowned kings of the underworld in Qingcheng. As Xing eavesdrops, he hears someone flipping through a book. He notices an elderly man standing nearby. He can sense a distinct aura radiating from him. No one dares to approach him, keeping their distance respectfully. Xing walks through the crowd and heads straight for the old man. His action attracts attention. The bystanders are shocked, wondering who this kid is that dares to seek death. People start complaining, reminding Xing that they are in line and telling him to get lost. But Xing doesn't care. He says, "Are you reading a novel?" Everyone freezes, stunned that he addressed him like that. The old man, Longjutian, closes the book and looks at Xing with amusement. He remarks that Xing is quite brave. Then he invites him to follow him to read somewhere else.
Sang follows him without any hesitation.
The air in the private reading area is cool and refreshing. Two maids gesture for Xing to sit next to Jutian on the sofa. As Xing sits down, he thanks him. Jutian smiles and suggests they talk for a bit. He asks why a young man like Xing would want to meet him. Xing gets straight to the point. He hands him the slip of paper that Voidblade gave him. Jutian takes it. One of the maids leans in closely and whispers in his ear. Jutian's expression turns serious. He stands up and tells the two maids to escort Xing out. He adds that he won't pursue Xing's impudence this time and warns him not to come see him again. Xing feels confused. He still hasn't received any answers. He asks for a reason since Voidblade clearly told him to come here. Jutian doesn't even turn back. He simply says that whatever she did has nothing to do with him. He can go ask her himself, or better yet, report to the police. Xing sighs. He can't just leave things like this. He grabs the paperweight on the table. He aims at Jutian and throws it at him. Jutian catches it easily. He slowly turns around, his eyes carrying killing intent. He asks if Xing truly thought that just because he is an old man in a library, Xing could do whatever he wanted. Everyone in the library is terrified. They can feel the intense killing intent radiating from Jutian, realizing that he is truly angry. Xing can also feel the pressure, but he tries to remain calm. The system notification appears. User is in a confrontation. Activating effect, calm. Despite Jutian's intimidation, Xing shows no fear, he merely smirks. This surprises Jutian. Everyone else is trembling, yet this kid hasn't flinched. He asks where Xing gets his confidence from, while starting to channel Qi. Sign responds by channeling his internal force as well. Jutian immediately recognizes that type of Qi. He asks if Xing is a disciple of that old devil Meng Baishang. Xing confirms, calling Baishang his master. Jutian bursts into laughter. He says this is truly destiny, telling Xing to follow him. Xing follows Jutian into a hidden room behind a bookshelf. The room is surprisingly large and luxurious. Jutian sits down on a chair and gestures for Xing to sit opposite him. He explains that he and Xing's master used to be sworn brothers. They fought side by side in countless life and death battles. But for some reason, they haven't spoken to each other for decades. Jutian asks how Baishang's body is doing right now. Xing answers honestly. He says Baishang is confined to a wheelchair, unable to walk on his own anymore. Jutian stays silent for a moment, a hint of sadness flashing across his face. Then he sighs and says, "No one can fight against time." Xing decides to use this opportunity to ask about the piece of paper again. Jutian looks at it. He explains that Voidblade is a very troublesome person. She constantly meddles in unsolved cases and causes all sorts of trouble. Her sending Xing here means she has her eyes on him, and he is caught up in something big. Jutian says the White Fang squad often trades through the black market, and he advises Xing to go there if he wants to find out more. Xing thanks Jutian. He stands up, preparing to leave. Before Xing leaves, Jutian warns him that the black market is dangerous, and he should be careful. He also tells Xing to send his regards to Baishang. Xing nods and leaves the room. As he steps out of the library, Xing contemplates what just happened. He didn't expect to be involved with an acquaintance of his master. He also realizes the White Fang squad might be tied to much larger issues than he thought. A few days later, Xing goes to the black market as Jutian had advised. The place is hidden underground, dark and filled with suspicious-looking people. Xing wears a hooded jacket to hide his identity, blending into the crowd. He notices all sorts of goods being sold, from weapons and drugs to items of unknown origin. He is looking for a person codenamed Old Black, who is said to be the best information broker here. After asking around, he is pointed to a tavern in a secluded corner. Ging walks in and sees an overweight man smoking a cigar sitting at a table in the back. He approaches and asks, "Are you Old Black?" Old Black exhales a puff of smoke, sizing Xing up from head to toe. "Who are you? Who sent you here?" Xing places a stack of cash on the table. "I need information about Voidblade and why she is interested in me." Old Black glances at the money, then takes it with a greedy smile. "Voidblade. Kid, you're involved in some serious trouble." He starts telling Xing about the White Fang squad. They aren't just special police, but a secret organization dealing with supernatural phenomena and evil forces. Old Black also reveals that the monster Xing fought at the Golden Wind Dojo wasn't a random incident. It was a failed biological experiment by a secret organization called Shadow. Void Blade is investigating Shadow, and she believes Xing might be useful for her investigation. Xing frowns. He doesn't want to get involved in other people's trouble, but it seems trouble has found him. Then what should I do? Xing asks. Old Black shrugs. You have two choices. Either cooperate with her or run as far away as possible. But I warn you, the White Fang Squad has a very wide intelligence network. You can't hide forever. Xing leaves the tavern, his mind heavy with thoughts. He needs to become even stronger to deal with the upcoming challenges. When he gets home, Xing sees Fengni asleep on the sofa. He gently strokes her fur, promising himself that he will protect her and find a way to turn her back into a human. The next day, Xing returns to Hidden Dragon Dojo and resumes his training. Baixiang notices a change in Xing's attitude. He is more focused, more determined. The old master nods in satisfaction, knowing his disciple is on the right path. Over the following weeks, Xing dedicates himself to martial arts training and masters new skills. The system continuously notifies him of his progress. Internal force level 5, inch punch level 3, combat level 4. He feels his body lighter and stronger than ever before. One day, while training, Xianying approaches Xing. Fast progress, she says, a slight smile on her lips. Thank you, senior sister, Xing replies, wiping the sweat from his forehead. But don't forget, martial arts isn't just about strength, Xianying reminds him. It also requires flexibility and the ability to adapt in combat. She offers to spar with Xing once more. This time the match lasts longer. Xing is no longer a beginner. He can predict Xianying's attacks and counter sharply. The match ends in a draw, both exhausted but smiling with satisfaction. You have improved a lot, Xianying praises, respect evident in her eyes. Xing thanks her and knows that he still has much to learn. A few days later, Xing receives a message from an unknown number. I need to see you, immediately, Central Park. Xing knows it is Void Blade. He braces himself and leaves the dojo. The students begin whispering among themselves, placing bets on who will win. One is confident that it will be Xianying. In his mind, she only lost last time because of carelessness. Xing has just started learning martial arts. There is no way he can win again. A few even hope she will go easy on him and not break him. Ying knows that even though she calls it a demonstration, she is actually trying to regain the reputation she lost last time, and this time she won't be careless. But that doesn't bother him. For him, this is the perfect opportunity to test his own capabilities. After briefly asking for guidance, he activates Twin Lives Level 1. She prepares to launch a palm strike at him, but he disappears in a flash. The next second, he grabs her arm and throws her to the ground. The impact leaves her dazed. She can't understand why she still lost when she clearly went all out. He calmly declares that she let him win. He receives plus 97 combat experience. He also receives plus 81 physical experience and plus 49 wellness experience. On top of that, his aiming experience increases by plus 26, sports experience by plus 69, and sports levels up to level 2, 9 out of 500. Only then does he realize an important thing. This is no longer considered the weak defeating the strong. After activating the speed of Twin Lives, the system no longer considers him weaker than Xianying. Xianying has rich combat experience and was fully on guard, yet she still couldn't react in time. That makes him realize how terrifying his strength has become. From now on, his training will focus on fully mastering the speed difference. A moment later, Fu Guang waves at him and asks if he wants to practice Hidden Dragon Force together. He accepts the 5th senior brother's invitation. Afterwards, Fu Guang is completely in disbelief. He thought the rumors about Xing practicing Hidden Dragon Force in one night were just bragging. But now he can clearly see it. Xing has almost cultivated Dragon Ki. When Fu Guang first practiced this technique, he could only endure for half an hour. The comparison is ridiculous. However, he explains an important matter. In the martial arts world, there is a legendary ultimate physical state known as a treasure body. It means tempering one's physical body into a true treasure. In that state, the body achieves 5 types of perfection. Muscles hiding dragon elephants, tendons wrapping iron trees, skin blooming like glazed glass, bones like indestructible jade, and blood dripping like molten gold. Muscles hiding dragon elephants means muscles so strong they seem to contain flood dragons within. Tendons wrapping iron trees refers to tendons as tough and deeply rooted as iron trees. Skin blooming like glazed glass means flawless and seamless skin like polished glass. Bones like indestructible jade means bones tempered into immortal, unbreakable jade, and blood dripping like molten gold refers to a state where, upon activating qi, the blood boils like volcanic lava. Fu Guang admits that it is just a legend. No one has ever truly achieved it. Deep down, Xing feels otherwise. Just because others couldn't do it doesn't mean it's impossible for him. That thought sparks something inside him. He wants to become a martial arts legend himself. Truly, suddenly someone crashes through the window. Fu Guang is completely panicked by what his eldest senior brother just did. Shattered glass scatters everywhere. Fu Guang quickly introduces Xing to the man. He explains that this is the dojo's strongest eldest senior brother, Qi. He also has many quirks. The system informs Xing that Qi doesn't like talking, is a muscle freak, hates trouble, believes brute force is supreme, is obsessively protective of his wife, and hates using the front door. Fu Guang adds that Qi prefers entering by breaking windows. When Xing looks at the shattered window, his eyes widen. He can't believe Qi jumped from the ground all the way to the top floor. Xing can't help but wonder how much strength that required. Fu Guang asks if their eldest senior brother came looking for him. Qi just waves his hand and Fu Guang immediately understands. Fu Guang tells Xing that he has some matters to attend to and will leave first. Before leaving, he reminds him of an important point. The essence of Hidden Dragon Force is channeling power and shaping it. Then he leaves by jumping straight out the window. Only then does Xing realize something. Recently, he has only been focusing on increasing the quantity of qi. Not once has he thought about shaping it. With a newly formed idea, he tries to combine it with his aiming ability. 3 hours later, he takes a deep breath. Then, he continues to meditate until his veins pop from the strain. Then he flicks his finger. The force bursts outward, creating a shockwave in the air. He realizes it is much more impressive than shooting pebbles on the roadside. Someone approaches, clapping slowly. It is the dojo master. He didn't expect that. Aside from Xing's outstanding physical talent, he also possesses such remarkable sports talent. He hands Xing a pill and tells him to eat it. Xing takes it, and without hesitation places it in his mouth. The master then tells him to look at him. Xing feels something strange. It is as if he is drifting into nothingness. He no longer knows where he is or what the master did to him. The pill starts glowing. It transforms into a golden dragon, and Xing immediately panics. The dragon slowly opens its eyes. The golden light reflects in Xing's own eyes. Then he sees it. Golden scales begin forming on his right arm. Xing gets a headache. It feels like the qi in his body is running wild everywhere. He wonders if it is because of the pill. He takes a deep breath, trying to calm the qi first. He activates the hidden dragon technique and holds his breath. Deep in his consciousness, a wonderful feeling arises. At the same time, all his distracting thoughts surface. The dragon stands right in front of him. He focuses on cultivating, and the dragon's body slowly wraps around him. Soon, the golden light envelops everything as he merges with the dragon. His body transforms, covered in dragon scales. His eyes also change, becoming like a dragon's eyes. He has met the requirements and activated the visualization skill. Visualization level 1, 0 out of 300. Finally, he opens his eyes. He is shocked to find himself back in his real physical body. The master explains that if he hadn't returned in time, his QE would have been completely drained. The master says it is unbelievable that Xing could cultivate dragon qi on his first try. He is truly very impressed. Xing then asks what dragon qi actually is. The master explains that dragon qi is a type of emotion. When someone is angry, they can strike with much greater force. When fighting for survival, their body can feel filled with endless energy. In the hidden dragon technique, stimulating emotions is called dynamic qi, while controlling emotions is called static qi. If one can combine dynamic and static, then everything will succeed. Xing asks how he should practice it. The master smiles, saying Xing has grasped the essence, but he still tells him to figure it out thoroughly himself. Xing asks if it is a state free of distractions. He gives it a try. Suddenly he can recall everything he saw and learned in his previous life. He even visualizes a math problem from his college entrance exam. He hadn't studied since then, but now it seems incredibly simple. The master calmly replies that this is only a small part of it. Xing notices that ordinary things can no longer stir his emotions. At the same time, his imagination has become much stronger. Now he can clearly picture a giant dragon in his mind. Even a mane, a hair, or a golden scale appears vividly and sharp. He suddenly has a revelation. This must be the true essence of visualization. The master points out that empty talk is useless. Only practice can bring true understanding. He then tells Qingzhao to spar with Xing. She is still eating bread, her face covered in crumbs. The master explains that Qingzhao's movement control is the strongest among all the disciples. Even her father, Qi, cannot compare to her. Shang becomes curious. Who is stronger? Her or the sixth senior sister? Qingzhao gets into a fighting stance. Xing attacks. But before he can even act, he is hit. He is dumbfounded in disbelief. The master laughs, pointing out that Xing's intentions are too obvious. Xing can't believe she's even stronger than his special powers. He charges forward again, this time fully determined to win at any cost. He continuously gets hit. Whether his methods are despicable or vicious doesn't matter. In martial arts, the one standing wins, the one lying down loses. She kicks him hard, sending him flying. Blood drips from his mouth, but he still wants to continue. So they continue. The sun has set on the horizon, but Xing still refuses to stop. This time he manages to dodge her punch, and finally he lands a strike on her chest. The impact pushes her back. Xing is stunned by the strange sensation left on his hand. The master quickly catches Qingzhao, preventing her from crashing into the wall. He declares today's training session over, because Qingzhao is clearly hungry already, so continuing to spar would be pointless. He tells her to go rest first. Xing asks why the fourth senior sister never speaks. The master explains that something happened to her when she was a child, but he says he will explain the details another time. The master then asks how Xing feels and if the training session was effective. Xing answers honestly. He says he is exhausted. The system notifies him that his stamina is 827 out of 2,000, wellness 468 out of 800, and running 699 out of 2,000. He adds that he has never been this tired in his entire life, but at the same time, he has never felt this happy. His charm is 66 out of 1,200, aiming 567 out of 800, combat 520 out of 800, sports 217 out of 1,200, and visualization 251 out of 300. He realizes how terrifying the fourth senior sister is. Sparring with her for over 4 hours boosted his experience insanely. From now on, he plans to stick to her shamelessly. Afterwards, he returns home. He brings some fried chicken back for Fengni, but she isn't there. It is late, making him wonder where she went. Right then, he hears a strange noise coming from the bathroom. Shang is confused. Fengni didn't bring any guests over. There is only one pair of shoes at the door. He wonders if she is in there. A bad thought crosses his mind. What if someone locked her in the bathroom? He remembers she mentioned having enemies. That makes him worried. So he rushes into the bathroom, only to find her peacefully taking a bath. She panics and splashes water everywhere. He quickly stops her and says that if they keep wasting time, the fried chicken will get cold. Her eyes instantly light up. In the end, they decide to bathe together. She sits in his lap while he helps brush her fur. Between the fried chicken and his help, her mind is completely in a daze. The system detects a surge of affection towards Xing. Xing, you receive plus 89 charm points. The cattail ring starts to glow. She places a paw on his chest. Xing squints as the light gets brighter and brighter. Slowly, he opens his eyes. The paw has turned into a hand. He freezes because Fengni has turned into a human. She still has cat ears and a tail, but the rest is clearly human. She panics, jumps up, and yells at him not to look. Her tail wraps around his eyes. He tells her to calm down. She asks if he is telling the truth. He says he isn't lying and tells her to get up first so they can talk properly. Suddenly, she feels a strange electric jolt run through her body. He asks what's wrong. She quickly says nothing. Blushing, she asks why she transformed back at this time. Xing guesses they might have accidentally triggered the divine artifact's transformation. That catches her attention. Then she realizes something. Just moments ago, she had developed a bit of affection for him. Xing asks if a tiny spark of emotion plus fried chicken is enough to turn her human again. The activation condition sounds ridiculous. She also notices the cat ears, sharp fangs, and tail are still there. That only makes her more annoyed with the useless garbage the so-called god left behind. She warns Xing not to misunderstand anything. This was clearly an accident. She stops mid-sentence. She feels something change. She notices the reaction on his body. Xing sighs and explains that it is an unconscious reaction, not something he can control. But if she doesn't leave soon, he might actually lose control. She tells him she will move her tail, but he has to close his eyes. He agrees. As she carefully backs away, she slips and falls. The sudden movement brings them too close again, and their sensitive areas touch. Her face turns as red as a tomato. The sensation is too much for her to handle. If she keeps struggling like that, it will be very hard for him to hold back. She cries and insists she didn't do it on purpose. He knows that. He tells her to get out quickly while he still has control over himself. Otherwise, she won't be able to leave at all. That completely terrifies her. She dashes out the door and slams it behind her. Xing finally relaxes. Only then does he dare to open his eyes. An hour later, he steps out of the bathroom and finds she has turned back into a cat. She doesn't understand why. After calming down, she automatically reverted. Now she can't turn into a human anymore. No matter how hard she tries, the situation leaves her bewildered. He sits next to her and reaches out to pet her, but she dodges away. He understands her reaction, especially after what just happened. He tells her that he recently met someone knowledgeable about divine artifacts. Tomorrow, he will go ask about her specific situation. Maybe there is a way to help her turn back into a human. She starts imagining what she will do if she transforms one more time. She will torture him. The thought makes her laugh evilly. Xing can only sigh the next day. Because Xing sleeps early and wakes up early, his wellness points increase by plus 38 and level up to level 3. 3 out of 800. Fengni is curled up beside him. Seeing her sleeping so soundly, he can't help but smile. He gets up as his phone buzzes with a message. It is a message from Yu Qing. She tells him to hurry up. There is work to do. Xing feels relieved. Finally, he has business at Qingcheng Library again. Xing searches for Wu Yu Qing. She told him to hurry, but she isn't there. He doesn't see anyone else except a girl wearing glasses. Then he realizes something. The girl with glasses is Yu Qing. Her appearance has changed a bit. Then she takes off the glasses. That is when her appearance returns to normal. But it seems to be even more enhanced. She says his consciousness intensity is quite high. She didn't expect him to find her so quickly. He also notices how attractive she looks, realizing that. She clears her throat. Xing feels embarrassed, hastily looking away. She tells him the glasses are a divine artifact. Artifact 1280, ordinary glasses. They suppress a person's presence, making them hard to notice. He asks if that is all they can do. When he touched them, the system detected a divine substance, and he absorbed the divinity. Not only that, once the glasses are removed, the suppressed presence bursts out instantly. The longer a person wears them, the more radiant they become when taking them off. He feels relieved. He didn't suddenly turn into an old pervert. It was just the glasses. He asks her about the job. She says she wants to show him this first. This mission is very special. A C-rank retrieval mission that normally wouldn't be assigned to him. But this divine artifact, Artifact 11105, the villain's crown of glory, can continuously amplify the primal desires of the wearer. The current wearer is a woman named Lu Xiying. Once she sees handsome men, she cannot control her desire to possess them. He realizes these glasses were prepared specifically for him. She says his foundation is already solid. If he wears the glasses first, the moment he takes them off, he will completely detonate Lu Xiying's desires. At that point, removing the villain's crown and bringing her back to normal will be very easy. The mission will belong to him. His face scrunches in disgust as he realizes they want him to use a honey trap. However, he admits this job suits him well. He can drain 2 divine artifacts at the same time while staying safe. The glasses suit him too. He imagines himself wearing them for 10 years and then taking them off. He pictures himself looking ridiculously cool. He asks if she owns the glasses. She says no. She borrowed them from another retrieval company. He is surprised to learn there are other retrieval companies. She freezes, realizing she shouldn't have mentioned that. He thought their company was the only one in the country, both mysterious and high-end. She says he misunderstood. Divine artifact retrieval companies are very special, but if she had to describe it, they are no different from scavengers. He tells her that comparison sounds a bit tragic. She explains that there are thousands of known divine artifacts. They can appear anywhere, anytime. It is impossible for one company to handle all of them. Moreover, the job is extremely dangerous. He asks if they cooperate with other retrieval companies. She says no. The government outsourced the retrieval work to them. Some companies will do anything for money. If he runs into people from other companies, she warns him to be careful. He says he understands. He tells her he wants to test the effect. She asks what he means. He takes off the glasses. Her heart skips a beat and her cheeks flush. The system notifies him that he received plus 19 charm points. The effect is confirmed. Very effective. Right in the car. He reads through the documents. They are about Lu Xiying, whose area of operation is mainly in the South District, a place filled with bars, dance clubs, host clubs, and technicians. It is a classic hunting ground for a gangster big sister. According to the files, Lu Xiying took over the territory thanks to the physical enhancement stats from the villain's crown. She even formed a small gang called the Rose Gang. Every day she hunts locals, draining the vitality of countless men. At the same time, the villain's crown continuously amplifies her desires. The stronger her desires, the more her physical strength is enhanced. If no one stops it, the crown will continue to stack its effects limitlessly. As long as he removes the villain's crown, she can return to normal. The problem is how to do it cleanly. A while later, in the South District, the driver tells the passenger to exit through the back door. When Xing steps out, he continues absorbing divinity at 79%. Down the same street, a man is being beaten with a bat. The attacker laughs loudly, saying that feeling free to do whatever one wants is absolutely wonderful. The woman agrees. She says she loves doing whatever she wants, and if anyone dares to control her, she will beat them up. Xing looks at her and thinks this old woman is far too delusional. Then he suddenly realizes this is Lu Xiying. An old man tells Lu to take care. She asks who said she was leaving. Then she asks where his two sons are because she hasn't seen them today. The man jokes that if she wants men, he can call someone over for her. With a sly smile, she says she wants both of them. Xing hides in a corner. The moment he realizes she is an old hag, he decides he would rather die than try to seduce her. A few thugs appear. One of them says that this time Brother Duan is taking action. That crazy woman surnamed Lu is done for. Xi sees they are here for revenge. He chooses to stay hidden and observe first. Blade Gang boss Duan Kaiping yells at Lu. He says he heard she has been very arrogant lately. Lu Xiying, boss of the Rose Gang, asks who he is. One of the beaten men tells her it is Duan Kaiping of the Blade Gang. They blame Kaiping for beating them. She looks him up and down and says his body is pretty good too. She asks if he wants to play with her. That angers him. He throws a punch, but she easily dodges it. He demands she return the territory. She continuously slips past his punches. Shang learns that this used to be the Blade Gang's territory until Lu's Rose Gang took over. There, the feud started from that. To him, this is clearly a gang war. The Blade Gang members charge in, mocking her for only knowing how to dodge. The Rose Gang jumps in too. Then one of them gets smashed in the head with a brick. Lu freezes when she sees what happened to her boy. The man she was talking to earlier is the boy's father, and he panics seeing his son injured. That completely ruins her mood. Caping smiles. She is finally getting serious. He unleashes his true skill. This time his attack hits the mark. She slams hard into the wall. Instead of backing down, her eyes light up. Now she really wants to fight him. They clash, and the scene erupts into utter chaos. Xing realizes this thug named Kaiping is not simple at all. He straightens his palm into a blade. His hand becomes sharp, cutting through iron like mud. Even so, Xiying only gets a shallow scratch. In terms of pure martial arts skill, Kaiping is much stronger than her, but she is absurdly tanky. No matter how much he hits her, he can't truly injure her. She swings a bat and hits him, making him cough up blood. Xing receives a notification. Divinity absorption is complete. Movement speed has been activated. He can choose between physical strength, physical defense, reaction speed, calculation ability, focus, and memory. Last time he chose speed, so this time he combines it with strength. He is curious how strong he will be after the upgrade. He picks a target and flicks a pebble. It flies like a bullet. When it strikes Kaiping's leg, the bone shatters on impact. Xing can tell immediately. This is not a small boost at all. Lu looks around, trying to find the attacker. She screams, demanding him to show himself immediately. On the other hand, Kaiping is furious. He thinks she sneak attacked him. He decides to retreat. Before leaving, his men warn her that they will return for revenge. She admits that those hits actually hurt quite a bit. Sang steps out of hiding. She asks if he was the one who did it. Xing admits it was him. Then she asks if he brought a gun. He replies, close enough, and assures her he won't use it on her. He can tell immediately that she has no real combat method. Anyone can see she has never been formally trained. So, he decides to face her head-on without ruining his looks. If things go wrong, he plans to take off the glasses midway to subdue her. She laughs and says the only place he can handle her is in bed. Xing closes his eyes and focuses. The aura he emits startles her. For the first time, she feels he might actually be very strong. She asks who he is. He calmly replies that his name is Xing. Xing activates twin lives. He moves like a blur. He kicks Lu straight in the torso and slams her to the ground. The impact shatters the surface beneath her. She barely has time to react before seeing his fist flying toward her. It punches her squarely in the face. He follows up with a barrage of punches, each one landing precisely on her face. The final punch sends her flying deep into the wall. The force is so strong that even Xing feels his fist tremble. The noise has attracted a crowd. People are whispering, wondering if a movie is being filmed. Even the wall collapsed, and some worry Lu was crushed underneath. Everyone starts wondering who Xing really is. She stands up. She is incredibly furious at this kid. The crown on her head emits an ominous aura. She says he has truly pissed her off. On the other hand, Xing is actually enjoying the fight. She swears to beat him into meat paste. She swings the bat, but he slips past it. He drives his knee into her face. Blood flows from her nose, but there is a creepy smile on her face even after taking that hit. That is because she has grabbed his arm and says he won't be able to run away now. Then she is stunned as he calmly places a finger on her forehead. Our Super Giga Chad male lead activates aiming mode and flicks her forehead. The force is absurd. She drops the bat, clutches her face and screams that her eyes hurt so much. Shang recalls his master's words. Despicable or vicious, it doesn't matter. As long as you win, any move is valid. Only the one standing at the end has the right to speak. And not just men, women also have a weak spot between their thighs. He kicks her there. She groans and collapses in agony. As she bends over, Xing locks his hands together and raises them above his head. Then, he brings them down on her head with all his might, knocking the crown off. The impact craters the ground and she faceplants straight into it. The crown rolls away on the rubble. The Rose Gang members witnessed everything. Their legs are shaking so much they can barely stand. Ying picks up the villain's crown of glory. The system detects a divine substance and immediately begins extracting divinity when he touches it. He reports to Yu Qing that it has been successfully retrieved. He glances at Lu and hopes she won't suffocate lying face down like that. As for punishment, for all the evil things she did while wearing the villain's crown of glory, he decides to leave that to the people she oppressed during those days. He notices the absorption speed has increased. He is about to check what changed on the screen when a man in a suit calls out to him. Our male lead turns his attention toward the voice. The man demands Xing hand over the item in his hand, stating that he is not qualified to touch it. Divinity absorption has reached 71 out of 100. This is a critical moment. Xing cannot afford to be interrupted, so he calmly asks what the man will do if he refuses. The man emits a terrifying aura and asks if Xing wants to die. As the man stares at him, system panels appear. Estimated body level 1.7 to 1.9. Body mutation rate below 1%. Detected traces of martial arts training. No obvious body part specialization. Combat mode. Uncalculatable comprehensive danger level 2.1 to 2.5. The man estimates Xing is only 16 or 17 years old, probably lives somewhere like the Outer Ring rural area, but his level has already surpassed 2. Even so, it is still too weak. While approaching Xing, he says he will give him one last chance. But then Xing aims a kick straight at his crotch. He curses Xing for being a despicable martial artist, using dirty tricks every day, so he is always on guard. But he is surprised when Xing suddenly runs away and yells that he is a pervert, because no normal person would guard against that move. He yells for him to stop because he is going to kill him. Xing wonders if this man is a containment agent from another company. There is something wrong with his body. It is stiff, like mechanical parts bolted together. The man lunges to grab him. He almost catches Xing, but Xing spins around, escapes, and continues running. The man clicks his tongue in annoyance. Xing knows he can't tangle with this guy any longer. The divinity absorption is already at 81 out of 100. Then he is suddenly punched through a wall. He only has time to block with his arms, but the impact still sends him flying through several more walls. He realizes that no matter how far he runs, this man will eventually catch him. The system notifies him that the divinity extraction is complete, the shadow fire skill is inactive, and the required divinity to activate is 539 out of 500. All conditions are met. The system asks if he wants to activate it. He presses yes. The man demands Xing hand it over, promising he will only break one arm and one leg and spare his dog life. He is dumbfounded when Xing suddenly covers his mouth. At that moment, he realizes Xing is a vessel. Xing wonders if the man is talking about him. No. The man answers that there is no one else. He notices the black fire surrounding Xing and the strange aura. That is when he realizes he is facing a vessel. Xing activated Shadow Fire. Level 1. Required divinity to upgrade is 39 out of 100. Its effect is simple. Turn shadows into tangible shadow flames. Divine Avatar is still locked. Requires 2000 divinity and level 10. He only has 39. Xing notices the moment the man saw the black fire. He immediately associated him with the word vessel. Xing doesn't understand why or what a vessel is. He sees the man trying to run away, but he can't let him escape. He throws the black flames at him. The man screams at him to stay away. Xing still doesn't fully understand what is happening. He just moves according to his thoughts, and the shadow flames rush forward. It feels like an automated attack system, similar to floating cannons. The man curses loudly as the fire rains down on him. Xing looks at him coldly. The fire enters the man's nostrils. Xing is startled as the man starts screaming in agony from various parts of his body. He watches carefully. The man is incinerated, and the sight makes Xing throw up. The system notifies that the weak defeated the strong, rewarding him with plus 452 combat experience. The notification appears again, and the man's entire body is covered in synthetic skin. Its durability is extremely high. After being burned for so long, it barely shows signs of damage. If he hadn't destroyed him from the inside just now, killing him would have been much harder. In comparison, although the rock looks hard, it was turned into that state after just a short time. Xing realizes that the damage caused by the black fire seems related to the target's density. Even so, there are no signs of carbonization on the rock's surface, and touching it feels cold, which means the black fire doesn't actually possess the properties of real fire. Suddenly, the black fire covering his body extinguishes. He checks the system. It explains that the black fire is converted from shadows. Now that the surrounding shadows have decreased, the shadow fire has also weakened. He quickly understands, the larger the shadow area around him, the more shadow fire he can convert, and the stronger it becomes. He dispels his shadow. Xing finds it interesting that he can use the skill this way without needing a prompt. He also doesn't know how the cooldown is calculated. For now, he decides not to think much about it. As for the burned man, he plans to explain everything to Yuqing first. In the South District, a man is staring at a large mass of flesh. He gently strokes it and talks to Ping Ping, asking if it knows why he summoned it. It is Kai Ping. He has lost an arm and is wrapped in bandages. Kneeling on the floor, he answers that he knows because the master repeatedly warned him not to cause trouble. But he still did.
He is startled when the man in front of him suddenly disappears.
Right after, the man grabs his head. The man is furious, asking why Kai Ping caused trouble even when knowing the consequences clearly. He asks if Kai Ping is tired of living. Kai Ping immediately begs his master for forgiveness. The man orders him to stand up. Then he asks if there is any news about the two guys they sent earlier. No. Kai Ping replies that they were wiped out. The man asks if White Fang did it. Kai Ping reports that one of them was injured by a kid. That answer annoys the man. This scares Kai Ping even more. He hurriedly explains that the kid is Kui Xing, just an ordinary person. The man flies into a rage, demanding an explanation on how an ordinary person could defeat them. Even if the test subjects aren't perfect, they still aren't something ordinary people can offend. He orders Kai Ping to capture that kid. He will personally feed him to the great thousand-legged mother. That way, she will give birth to better children. And one day, he will conquer this planet. Xing arrives at Qingcheng Library. He caused a huge disaster during the mission, and he can't help but worry about the consequences. He wonders if Yuqing will be angry. He sees her sitting there, seemingly waiting for him. He tiptoes over and greets her. She demands Xing tell her exactly what he did. Very reluctantly, he hands her the piece of paper recording his troubles. He explains that Lu Xing went crazy. She attacked the Blade Gang. And her people did too. When both sides were exhausted, he intervened and easily retrieved the item. Yuqing is stunned. It seems she is overwhelmed by what he just said. She doesn't understand why this happened. Then he mentions the man in the suit he encountered. He says the man tried to steal the villain's crown, but he defeated him. Xing also adds that this suited guy's body felt like machinery, and he was actually very strong. Yuqing realizes who Xing is talking about, and her expression instantly changes. She says that is a C-rank containment agent, usually dispatched for important missions. The fact that Xing could defeat him is no small matter. She begins to suspect Xing's true capabilities. Xing tries to evade the topic by asking if he will get paid. Yuqing sighs and says there will be payment. She hands Xing a card and says the money has been transferred to it. He can use it to buy the things he needs. Xing thanks her and quickly leaves. After leaving Qingcheng Library, Xing wanders around the city. He contemplates his new abilities and how to use them. The Shadow Fire skill is truly powerful, but it also comes with great risks. He decides he must control it better. One day, while training at the dojo, Xing meets Shanying again. She looks tired and worried. Xing asks what's wrong. She hesitates for a moment before saying that the master is sick. Baishang weakened a lot after transferring dragon qi to Xing. Shanying says the master needs a special elixir to recover. The elixir is called dragon bloodgrass, which only grows in a dangerous area known as the Valley of Death. Xing doesn't hesitate, deciding to go find the dragon bloodgrass. Shanying warns him that the Valley of Death is very dangerous, but Xing has made up his mind. He packs his things and prepares to set off. Meanwhile, at the headquarters of the Shadow Organization, the mysterious man is talking to a hooded figure. He reports on Kaiping's failure and Xing's intervention. The hooded figure listens in silence. Then he waves his hand, signaling the man to leave. He tells himself that Xing is an interesting variable and might be useful for his plan. Xing begins his journey to the Valley of Death. The path is arduous and fraught with peril, but Xing doesn't give up. He faces various types of monsters and overcomes deadly traps. Finally, he finds the Valley of Death. The area is covered in thick fog and heavy dark energy. Xing enters carefully, sensing the presence of terrifying creatures. He knows the real battle has just begun. A sense of disappointment creeps in. If that is the case, then the cattail ring might also be restricted. Even so, he decides to keep searching. Finally, he sees it, Divine Artifact 1391, the cattail ring. He silently prays. When he swipes the card, the data opens up. He almost breathes a sigh of relief. The Divine Artifact's danger level is listed as B, which doesn't match Xing's C-rank containment personnel clearance. Therefore, he can only view the first 2 layers of data. He always thought this divine artifact merely turned people into harmless little kittens. Yet it is ranked alongside divine artifacts capable of destroying an entire street. He pulls out a chair and sits down to read. The file states that after wearing the ring for a month, the wearer can freely transform between human and cat forms. He likes that. It sounds incredibly convenient. Another entry catches his attention. One year, a doctor screamed fanatically after seeing the cattail ring and subsequently founded the Outer God cult. That piques his curiosity. So he looks up information about the Outer God cult. After the god died, the earth cracked and massive border zones emerged from the rifts. As humans explored these rifts deeper, they discovered tools capable of communicating with outer gods. Groups driven by a thirst for power gathered and prayed to the outer gods for blessings. These groups became known as outer god cults. Those who received gifts from the outer gods were called receivers. Now he finally understands what receiver means. He turns the page. 200 years ago, an outer god cult known as the Holy Lion cult attempted to contact the god Bastet. The god never responded, until a believer acquired Divine Artifact 1391 and transformed into a cat, finally receiving the goddess's blessing. But the blessing didn't go to the believer, it went to the Divine Artifact itself. From that moment on, the cattail ring gained even more mysterious powers. As the fusion process progresses, the wearer gradually acquires Bastet's powers until they eventually transform into the true Bastet. His blood runs cold. The Holy Lion cult will stop at nothing to retrieve the cattail ring. That only means one thing: they are going to kill Fengni. Now he finally understands why Fengni urged him to go to the dojo back then. He can imagine what would have happened if he hadn't managed to get stronger in such a short time. He fears both of them would have died. He turns the page and begins reading about the fusion conditions of Divine Artifact 1391, the cattail ring. The first fusion requires intense emotional stimulation. After that, the wearer must continuously stimulate the same emotion to deepen the fusion process. As he reads those words, the previous incident flashes vividly in his mind. He shakes his head vigorously, trying to dismiss those memories. They have become far too vivid. His expression turns grim as he realizes they might have to repeat that sort of thing frequently if she wants to turn back into a human. He doesn't know how to explain this to her. He continues reading and notices more details in the book. Divine Artifact 1391. The cattail ring has no side effects. The divine artifact only grants divine authority and nothing else. The only real danger is the Holy Lion cult. That scares him for a second. But knowing there are no side effects is still good news. He turns to the next page. Hoping to learn what kind of power Bastet possesses and how to remove the ring once worn. He is surprised to find no answers to these important questions. A C-rank containment personnel's clearance level is simply too low to access that information. Suddenly his phone rings. It is a notification from the bank. He has received 231,511.31 currency, bringing his total balance to 235,212.25 currency. Initially, he thinks it is his salary. Then he realizes it is the compensation money given by Yu Qing, and he didn't expect it to be this much. Now he won't have to carefully calculate what to eat every day. With this money, he can spend more time training and becoming even stronger. He plans to buy some expensive ingredients and cook a lavish meal for Fengni. And when the time is right, he intends to tell her the conditions to turn back into a human. 5 days later, expensive dishes fill the table, and Fengni is feasting happily. She asks why he is so extravagant lately. Then she asks if he made some money. He replies that he used to be rich. This only confuses her more. He explains that over the past few days, he has been learning a technique from the master called the armor shock technique. The technique itself isn't the problem. The problem is the cultivation process. He has to take medicine while practicing. And after each session, he needs to take a medicinal bath. Just one set costs 40,000. Now his bank balance has dropped to 8,011.03. He has practiced a total of 5 sets over the past few days. He never expected 200,000 to disappear so quickly. After calculating, she says there should still be over 30,000 left, so she asks why there is almost nothing left. He points at the food on the table. That makes her feel a bit embarrassed. She admits his filial behavior towards her is commendable, but she still warns him to be more careful with money. Besides the medicines he mentioned, he will need to buy weapons and hidden weapons later on. Moreover, proper formal attire is required to enter high-end venues. Any outfit starts at over 100,000. He thinks that price is insane. She tells him that buying lobster or other luxurious ingredients once a month is more than enough. Only then does he realize how many ways there are to spend money. Payday is far away, and Yu Qing might not arrange a job for him anytime soon. If he doesn't find a way to make money, he fears he will have to live on the northwest wind again. So he starts looking for a job. He messages Fu Guang asking if any place is short on staff because money is tight lately. He says he can work as a bodyguard, courier, or porter. Fu Guang replies that he asked the right person. He tells him to come to Hidden Dragon Dojo tomorrow afternoon for a test to see if he qualifies. Then he notices Fengni is still busy eating. She has cleared most of the plates. He yells at her to leave some for him. The next day at Hidden Dragon Dojo, our protagonist is cultivating. During his training, he unlocked a new skill called Soft Force. Fu Guang stands nearby observing and nods in approval. In just 5 days, Qing has practiced the armor shock technique to this level. Such rapid progress means he has potential. A student walks over and asks if Qing can demonstrate a move since they are testing their strength. Before Qing can answer, Fu Guang speaks up for him and agrees. He leans in close and whispers that this is the perfect opportunity to test his training results and open everyone's eyes. Xing thinks for a moment, then decides to give it a try. A student named Wen Zhaorong, whose punching force is measured at 201.3 kiwori, speaks up. He says Xing hasn't been at the dojo for long and might not be strong in pure strength, so he shouldn't force himself. Another student, Yi Yingwu, with a punching force of 212.2 kiwori, agrees and warns Xing not to blame them if he breaks his arm later. The woman who invited Xing, Ning Meng Meng, whose punching force reached 232 kyo, tells them to stop talking nonsense. She says their little junior brother is incredibly impressive. Xing steps up and punches the sandbag without using any visible force. It looks no different from a light tap. Meng Meng frowns, worried that he didn't gather force properly. Zhaorong tries to suppress a laugh. It is so quiet that everyone thinks Xing hasn't used his full strength. They mock him, saying he is afraid of losing face, so he intentionally held back. But just as those words are spoken, the sandbag explodes. The screen on the measuring machine flashes. Everyone is dumbfounded. The stuffing from the sandbag scatters across the floor. Xing calmly says that is soft force. He explains that with strength, more isn't always better. What he used is an advanced application of force. First, he compresses all his strength into a single point, transmits it into the target's body, then lets it explode from the inside. He hopes everyone can comprehend it themselves. Meng Meng looks at him in awe and thanks him for the guidance. Yingwu, on the other hand, clicks his tongue in annoyance. Xing tells Yingwu to fetch a punching pad from the storage to attach to the testing machine. Yingwu has no choice but to comply. This makes Meng Meng chuckle. Fuguang then tells Xing that with his current skills, there is nothing to worry about. Recently, a big shot is looking for a bodyguard. The job is a bit complicated, but he asks if Xing wants to give it a try. Xing takes the document Fuguang hands him. Inside are photos of the location and detailed information. The address is Ruiju Hotel, 617 Qinghai Road, East District. The reward is 800,000 currency. Xing's eyes light up when he sees the number. He tells Fuguang he will take the job at Ruiju Hotel. Xing steps out of the car. He is wearing a black traditional Chinese tunic suit along with black pants. As soon as he enters the lobby, he attracts a lot of attention. People whisper, wondering who he is. Looking at his attire, they can tell he is a martial artist. He doesn't look like a rich young master attending a party. The most logical guess is that he was hired for protection, but he looks far too young. Xing overhears their whispers and realizes the senior sisters were right. Clothes really do make the man. He recalls Zhu Shunying asking him if he planned to go out in a black t-shirt and hoodie. He had asked what was wrong with that, since it's very comfortable. She told him clothes make the man. If he dresses too cheaply, others will naturally look down on him. However, she said it was fine because she had already prepared clothes for him. Then she pulled out a red suit from a famous designer. He immediately said it was too flashy. He argued he wasn't going on a blind date. Right then, someone patted his shoulder. It was Qing Zhao holding a black outfit. Shan Ying immediately argued with her, calling her too sly and insisting she was the one who arrived first. Xing secretly concluded that the fourth senior sister is still a notch higher. A few women nearby notice him and find him very handsome. One of them even suggests asking for his number. A man in a red beanie asks if Xing is a senior disciple of Hidden Dragon Dojo. The man in the white suit next to him replies he doesn't recognize this kid. The man in red then says the dojo must have taken in a new disciple. The man in the white suit adds that the Dragon King, Qi, once said he wanted to take in 7 disciples. But the 7th has to be a true prodigy with extraordinary aptitude and talent. Otherwise, he would rather take no one. He glances at Xing and comments that this kid looks more like a pretty boy. He wonders how strong this kid really is and says there is no way Xing could be Qi's disciple. The man in red points out something else. Xing's lower body stance is extremely solid. Every step he takes has exactly the same distance. No more, no less. His upper body doesn't sway at all. His body control is terrifying. And his way of exerting force has clearly reached a very high level. The man in the white suit doesn't care. He says, even if Xing can use a fraction of force to create 10 times the effect, facing 100 people at once will still result in defeat. That annoys the man in red. He says there is no point arguing with a blockhead like him. Just then, a receptionist approaches Xing and politely asks if he is the martial artist in charge of security. He introduces himself and says it is a pleasure to meet them. The manager then explains the job details. This time, 6 martial artists have been hired, each responsible for a specific area. Xing is assigned to the backstage area. The lighting there is very poor, so he needs to be extremely vigilant. Xing takes the map and confidently says that with so many martial artists, no one will dare cause trouble. The manager shakes his head and says it's hard to tell. Calling in more people is just a way to prevent trouble before it happens. Then he excuses himself, saying he still has many things to handle. Akan understands that hiring extra people isn't strange, but hiring 6 martial artists means something serious is going on. And that's not all. They also deployed a large number of bodyguards. Looking at their gear, Xing can tell they are all professionals. The number of surveillance cameras far exceeds what a normal hotel would have. When things are abnormal, there's always a reason behind it. That makes him curious about what kind of incident caused such a massive setup. The man in the white suit walks over and asks if Xing is the newly accepted true disciple of Hidden Dragon Dojo. Xing asks who he is. The man introduces himself as Li Zhaoquan from Tiger Soul Dojo and assures Xing he isn't looking for trouble. He says since they are colleagues, getting to know each other's level isn't asking too much. Xing asks how he plans to do that. Zhaoquan suggests a spar, a common way for martial artists to test each other's strength. Xing immediately understands. This guy thinks he is young and doesn't believe in his capabilities. At the same time, Xing also sees this as a good opportunity to know where he stands among them. Wu Guang suddenly spots Xing and freezes. He asks why Xing is here. A woman walks up and asks if he knows that handsome guy. Then someone else steps in and says he votes for Xing. They recognize him. It is Pei Xiao. The woman next to Wu Guang whispers that Zhao Quan is extremely fierce. She says last time the second young master Wu Guang sparred with him, he was squeezed until he screamed. That incident made Wu Guang lose a lot of face. Another woman points out there seems to be no movement from the handsome guy, so she thinks Zhao Quan won't lose. Xing calmly explains that it isn't that there is no movement, it is just that ordinary people can't see it. Only then do they realize something is wrong. Xing looks skinny and weak on the outside, but his body has been tempered countless times. It is as hard as steel. His ki is pure and unadulterated, far beyond anything Zhao Quan can compare to. Xiao tells Wu Guang to wait until the competition is over. Then, he wants Wu Guang to introduce him to the heroic young man. Wu Guang quickly agrees. Deep down, Wu Guang feels shocked. He can't understand how Xing became so strong. It feels unbelievable. On the other hand, Zhao Quan feels almost no visible force from Xing. That makes him smirk. He takes it as proof that this kid is just a rookie. He tells Xing to pack up and go home early. Xing Kan sensed that Zhao Quan's strength is indeed impressive. It is obvious he has trained hard for a very long time. However, compared to Xing, it is still lacking. Xing calmly stands there, even smiling. Zhao Quan suddenly feels something is wrong. Xing's force surges abruptly without warning, becoming overwhelmingly powerful. A flash of panic crosses Zhao Quan's mind. He can no longer suppress it. He struggles desperately. Then, without any warning, his wrist breaks. Xing is stunned. Just hearing the sound tells him it is bad. Zhao Quan slowly withdraws his limp hand. Xing asks if he is okay. Zhao Quan laughs, straightens his back, and says he is fine. He admits Xing is very strong and says he deserves to be a senior disciple of Hidden Dragon Dojo. His tone shows genuine admiration. Then he says he needs to go to the restroom and hurriedly leaves. Once inside with no one around, he cries. The pain in his hand is unbearable. Squatting in the corner, he holds his wrist and wonders what kind of monster he just encountered. Xing frowns. He wonders if Zhao Quan is really okay. He clearly heard something snap. Right then, Wu Guang calls him. Xing turns around. He is surprised to see Wu Guang waving enthusiastically at him from the stage area. Xing finally confirms Wu Guang is actually a rich young master. All this time, he thought this guy was just full of hot air. Wu Guang laughs and says Xing must be joking. Then he explains he is actually the child of his father and a mistress. If his eldest brother didn't look out for him, he wouldn't live so comfortably. Xing asks what he needs him for. Wu Guang hesitates, then admits Xing was amazing during the spar just now. Now his eldest brother wants to get to know him. He adds that his brother is a genius who entered Inner Ring University through the martial arts exam. Xiao is standing on the stage, so Xing asks if he is talking about him. Yes. Wu Guang nods and adds that there are also some wealthy young ladies and madams who want to meet Xing. He asks when Xing is free. Xing sighs. He says he can't right now because he has to work later. However, he doesn't mind an introduction. Then he adds that if they really want to be friends with him, they should come find him themselves. If someone wants something, they should fight for it, not wait for it to be delivered to their door. With that, Xing leaves to return to his work. Wu Guang watches him leave, completely mesmerized. He suddenly feels Xing is incredibly handsome. After hearing Xing's words, the girls immediately gather their courage. If they want something, they will have to fight for it themselves. A blonde woman walks up and asks to exchange contact info with him. The others quickly follow suit. While Xing is distracted, a delivery man quietly passes behind him. Xing only notices him after he has passed. He frowns. The manager never mentioned anyone bringing deliveries inside. Feng is about to call him back when the blonde woman grabs his arm and insists on exchanging contact info.
She laughs and says she will teach him many things, then winks at him.
Xing feels overwhelmed, surrounded by the crowd. He reluctantly exchanges phone numbers with them. At the same time, the suspicious man presses a switch. A red light activates. Xing's phone suddenly experiences interference. He immediately realizes something is wrong, and it isn't just his phone. Without warning, the lights go out. Initially, people think it is just a simple power outage. Panic spreads when they realize even their phone flashlights aren't working. Their batteries drain instantly. They find it strange that not a single phone can light up. Someone suggests maybe everyone's battery died, but deep down, Xing knows his phone was fully charged. And in this darkness, with dozens of people present, not a single person can turn on their phone for light. That means no one can do it. Moreover, all the lights went out at the exact same time. Xing suspects that any device related to electricity has been completely disabled. This can only be caused by an electromagnetic pulse, a high-tech method capable of disabling electronic devices instantly. He can't help but wonder why the enemy would use something like this. If the goal is just murder, this seems like too much effort. Suddenly, a window shatters. The blonde woman screams and hugs Xing tightly. In the banquet area, the sound of breaking glass echoes, attempting to calm everyone down. Someone says it might just be the strong wind or someone knocking something over in the dark. Their phones are still not working. Another person starts calling for old Wang, saying he was just right next to him a moment ago. Wu Guang manages to light a lighter. Xiao immediately senses something is wrong. He orders everyone not to move and tells them to gather together. Back to back, they follow his instructions, then they notice something moving. While everyone's attention is drawn elsewhere, someone is snatched away. By the time they realize what happened, Chairman Zhang has disappeared, leaving bloodstains behind. The formation collapses instantly as people panic and scatter. Xiao stays calm and yells that running around blindly is even more dangerous. Suddenly, something flies past him. The next moment, his cheek is grazed and blood starts flowing. But when he looks ahead, there is nothing there. He senses an attack rushing straight at him and strikes before it can reach him. The strike hits and knocks the attacker away. But he is still caught off guard. Wu Guang pushes him aside to save him. Someone else takes the hit. That person loses their upper half, and the remaining half sprays blood everywhere. It was done by a giant insect. Xiao and Wu Guang are horrified by the sight. They scream for everyone to run. But it is too late. There is no way out. Right then, Xing arrives and attacks the monster. He asks what that thing is. The giant insect slams hard into the ground. Green blood spews from its mouth. It is the same kind as the roach man. Xing feels relieved. All his recent efforts weren't in vain. Otherwise, there is no way he could have kicked it away so easily. The bystanders are stunned. He casually kicked that monster straight into the wall. A few of them hurriedly look for the hotel's other bodyguards. But they have disappeared. They ran away a long time ago. Wu Guang thanks Xing for saving his brother. Xing tells him not to come closer. The thing isn't dead yet. The monster suddenly lunges at him. Xing senses its vitality is much more tenacious than last time. Has it evolved and become stronger? He decides to test it first. If he can't handle it, he will retreat. He won't risk his life for that amount of money. He drives his elbow into its back. The creature is sent flying across the room. A shadow flame flares up between Xing's eyes. Now the monster isn't the only one who can move freely in the dark. After that strike, the scene before him becomes clearer. He is using Shadowfire's dark vision. This skill has a night vision effect. The control panel didn't explain it clearly. Otherwise, he would have used it much earlier. In the darkness, both move with ease. Zhao Quan stares in disbelief. Xing is actually fighting that monster on equal footing. But Zhao Quan shakes his head. On the surface, Xing seems to dodge at just the right moments. But looking closely, Xing hasn't taken a single step back. Only then does Zhao Quan realize the truth. Xing is protecting them. Zhao Quan suggests everyone leave. Staying here will only distract Xing and make him worry for their safety. The others agree. They can call the police and seek outside help. Xing watches them leave and feels relieved. Now he can finally go all out. He looks at the monster and says it seemed to be enjoying itself earlier, so he will play with it. The creature flaps its wings. then charges at him. Xing is caught off guard. The monster still has a hidden trick. Its speed has increased drastically. The monster hesitates as Xing suddenly disappears. In response, it emits a thick black mist. Xing is startled. He doesn't know what is happening. A revolving lantern appears before his eyes, replaying fragments of memories. For a moment, he even wonders if he is going to die at the hands of a damn roach man. But that is ridiculous. After spending so much money learning martial arts, there is no way he would lose to something like this. Obviously, something has gone wrong. He feels himself falling and his head hits something hard. When he turns his head, he sees a familiar dragon. At the same time, the monster crashes into his body, but it is stopped dead in its tracks. A powerful force has formed in front of Xing's chest. When Xing opens his eyes again, they are different. His pupils look like they are burning, and black-red smoke slowly oozes out. He decides to retaliate against the monster. He uses the ultimate move of the hidden dragon stance. Wind and Cloudtail. The moment it hits, the monster's upper half is blown apart. Only the lower half remains and blood splatters everywhere. Xing feels like he just realized something incredible. But then he notices something else. It actually isn't dead yet. He isn't too surprised. It is a mutated creature. And essentially, it is still a cockroach. Even without a head, a cockroach can live for 8 or 9 days. He remembers its true weak point is the subesophageal ganglion. He reaches in and pulls out the nerve ganglion. Looking at its size, he wonders if normal cockroaches actually have something this big. He almost throws up. Guang cautiously asks if it's over. They see the monster has finally stopped moving. Someone announces that Xing has killed it. Another person immediately asks which dojo he is from and yells that he is willing to sponsor him 1 million. Someone else raises it to 2 million and even urges Wu Guang to introduce them to Xing. The man in the red beanie reappears and teases Zhao Quan, saying he admires him for daring to provoke someone like that. Zhao Quan blushes in embarrassment and tells him to stop. Deep down, Zhao Quan feels nothing but relief. That young hero didn't even use 1% of his strength when they sparred earlier. Fortunately, Xing held back and didn't cripple him on the spot. Xin urges everyone to take this chance to leave as quickly as possible. He has a strong feeling that this matter isn't that simple. Wu Guang finally notices Xing's wound and is shocked. A man walks up to Xing and asks what he means by those words. Xing looks at him and asks who he is. The man introduces himself as Ye Chenglin, the party's host. He asks if Xing is implying that the incident wasn't an accident. Xing nods. Based on what he observed, this wasn't a normal power outage. It was an electromagnetic pulse, and it was man-made. As for the monster, it was likely released intentionally with the aim of killing everyone present. Chenglin's expression darkens. He says this must be an organized and premeditated assassination aimed at them. Furious, he swears to have his father investigate everything thoroughly. Inwardly, Xing feels something is wrong. They installed so many surveillance cameras and hired so many martial artists. They clearly anticipated danger, yet they still insisted on holding the party here. To him, the problem lies with them. He also notices the guests who could attend this party are no ordinary people. That makes him wonder why someone would want them all dead. He can tell Chenglin is definitely hiding something. Xing tells everyone that even though the monster is killed, the danger isn't over yet. He urges them to leave as quickly and calmly as possible. Staff members guide everyone to walk slowly and avoid pushing. Anyone with a lighter is encouraged to use it to light the way. As they move, Chenglin leans in close and asks Xing in a low voice if he knows what that monster was. Xing replies that he is just a bodyguard. He will try his best to protect everyone's safety. But other than that, he knows nothing. Right then, Xing realizes he is being tested, and he understands that this puddle is much deeper than he imagined. Shine is relaxing in the hotel lobby. He checks his status panel while the others are busy calling their families to pick them up. They want to go home immediately and never return to that hotel again. The system notifies that he just experienced a fierce life-and-death battle, stimulating his physical potential and granting him plus 1027 physical experience. In his mind, he thinks the harvest this time wasn't bad. He continuously receives notifications, plus 829 wellness, plus 538 running, plus 55 charm, and plus 518 aiming, and plus 121 visualization, all because he vividly imagined a true dragon sweeping through a sea of clouds. His physical body has leveled up to level 7, 135 out of 4,500. Wellness increased to level 5, 298 out of 2,000. Running reached level 6, 359 out of 3,000. Combat climbed to level 6, 324 out of 3,000. Visualization rose to level 4, 748 out of 1,200. Xing is very satisfied. A 4-digit amount of experience isn't easy to come by, and he finally met the specialization condition. He has a cut on his chest. And surprisingly, it is healing. He pauses, confused, then realizes his status fully recovered after leveling up. The system announces that he has met all requirements and can upgrade his basic force exertion to special force exertion. He wonders if this condition came from his comprehension of the true dragon sweeping through the sea of clouds. Yes. He also wonders if this special force exertion is related to the martial arts of the hidden dragon stance. He decides not to think much about it anymore. No matter how you look at it, special force exertion sounds stronger than the basic version. After pressing yes, the system confirms the specialization. Force exertion reaches level 6, 2080 out of 3,000. A total of 6,880 experience points have been converted into hidden dragon force, currently at level 4, 1880 out of 4,000. At the same time, a strange sensation spreads throughout his body. It feels as if the rusty parts inside him have just been oiled. Force flows through his body with a smoothness he has never experienced before. Opportunities like this are very rare, so he strikes while the iron is hot and starts practicing the armor shock technique again right in the lobby. Meanwhile, the paramedics have arrived, and Xiao leads them to the injured. He explains what happened in the banquet hall on the 17th floor beforehand. He is about to say more, but then stops. Xing is cultivating in the lobby. That night at Hidden Dragon Dojo, Xing thanks Xianying for offering to apply medicine to his chest. She asks how he got injured when it was supposed to be a simple bodyguard mission, yet such a terrifying monster appeared. She sighs and says he is really unlucky. The master arrives and explains that the dojo's missions are always living on the edge of a blade. Accidents are inevitable. Since his master is a man of knowledge and experience, Xing asks if he knows the origin of that monster. The master replies that he doesn't know the details either. He only knows that the creature is very likely related to the border zones. Xing wonders if the border zones are the natural rifts mentioned in the data that appeared after the god died. He can't help but be curious about what actually exists inside those rifts. The master advises him not to think too much about it. Being able to survive is already a great blessing. Moreover, the silver lining is that Xing comprehended the ultimate move of the dragon form, wind, and cloud tail. For a martial artist, tempering oneself between life and death is the best teacher. Xing clarifies that he seems to have grasped the essence of the hidden dragon stance. The master is so shocked that he jumps out of his wheelchair and walks straight towards him. Xing is startled. The master starts inspecting Xing's body. What he finds shocks him so deeply that he staggers backward and falls. He asks Xing if he has nurtured a dragon. Xing is completely confused. Even Xianying feels like they are speaking in riddles. The master bursts into laughter, clearly overjoyed by his discovery. He explains that to hide a true dragon capable of overturning clouds and seas, one must first nurture a young dragon in their body. And Xing has managed to nurture a dragon inside his body. Xing and Xianying help him up. Xing says that after the dragon appeared, his force circulation became much smoother. He asks if there are any other uses. The master replies that the dragon isn't an illusory concept, but a strand of true dragon force with its own sentience. He explains that practicing martial arts is no longer just practicing techniques, but nurturing the dragon in the body. That is the true essence of the hidden dragon stance. And Xing has obtained the key to breaking his limits. Xianying asks what that means. The master explains that the human body has limits. Once the 5 layers of body tempering, flesh, tendons, bones, and blood are perfected, one cannot progress any further. At that point, one must break the limit, which means elevating their life level. Reconstructing the physical body is the most crucial foundation. Even though the person still looks human, their life essence will no longer be human. Those who complete this life elevation are called earth immortals in Taoism and living Buddhas in Buddhism. As long as no accidents happen, they can live for at least 150 years, maintaining their bodies at peak condition until death. Xing realizes that his master's legs were probably the so-called accident. The master tells him not to worry, because he has already completed a crucial step of it. The risk of failure has greatly decreased. All that remains is continuous hard work. Xing thanks the master. Shanying says she heard her senior brothers mention that the master used to be a powerful figure who had crossed the dragon gate. She asks why he still aged. The master replies with a grim expression, "The dragon he nurtured was killed by someone." This news shocks both of them. He explains that back then he lived in the North District. Relying on his extraordinary martial arts strength, he acted too recklessly and didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Every day he participated in martial arts duels alongside Jushin. As a result, he offended a lot of people. When those enemies realized they couldn't beat him head-on, they targeted his wife and daughter. He killed them one after another as they came. For a time, he truly believed he was invincible. But retribution soon arrived. An expert smashed his legs and destroyed the true dragon in his heart. His spirit collapsed, and he became a half-cripple. Afterwards, countless people took advantage of his downfall. Only Jusian was still willing to stay by his side. Later, to avoid their enemies and protect Qingzhou, they left the North District. That was when they came here and opened Hidden Dragon Dojo. Xing asks if he ever wanted revenge. The master admits he still has some regrets. However, his enemies are all big shots in the North District, not the kind of small fries that can be easily dealt with. Finally, he tells Xing not to worry about it. It's all old news, already in the past. And if one day Xing can openly step into the inner ring, it wouldn't be too late to talk about this again. That night, Haing is on his way home. His phone buzzes with a notification. 80,000 currency has been transferred to his savings card ending in 366. His current balance is 88,011.03 currency. He didn't expect the money to arrive so quickly. He can't help but remark that the hotel's efficiency is impressive. He enters his house and announces to Fengni that he is home. There is no reply. He realizes she isn't there, or maybe she is taking a bath again. He activates Shadowfire. Scenes of her activities during the day flash in his mind. She seems to have had a lot of fun. Then he sees her climbing out through the window. Sign immediately looks out the window himself. In the distance, he spots 3 figures, 2 men cornering a cat. His heart sinks. She is in danger. Fengni talks to the men, asking why they came looking for her when they had already escaped. They reply that it is because of her crown, the Endless Dragon. She resonated with them. She completely didn't expect that. The men address her as Sect Master, stating that with her outstanding aptitude, she can definitely become a receiver. Then they can use the headquarters' power to rebuild everything. One of the men raises a hand, stopping the other from getting closer. It is obvious Fengni doesn't want to. She freezes when she sees Xing. She asks why he is here. Xing asks the same thing back. After hearing their conversation, he quickly realizes these men are members of her sect. One of the men asks if she is afraid that the Gan Security Company might discover this kid's existence. The mention of the Gan Security Company immediately makes her tense. Of course, Xing can't pretend he didn't hear that. The man hurriedly explains that if the sect master continues staying at this kid's house and the Gan Security Company finds out, it will definitely drag him into trouble too. Fengni feels a wave of sadness. Xing wonders if she really wants to leave. Even so, the Gan Security Company is indeed an extraordinary existence. After the god died, the world fell into chaos for a short time. The government lacked the power to maintain order, so they outsourced part of their law enforcement authority to various security companies, allowing them to build and develop their own armed forces. The Gan Security Company was one of them. Unlike the others, it expanded at an alarming rate, quickly becoming a deep-rooted behemoth. Now it is beyond control. Originally, Fengni, after turning into a cat, had been hidden here quite well. But now the Dragon Sect people have tracked her down. The risk of exposure has greatly increased. But if the Gan Security Company really comes, Xing isn't afraid at all. Xing tells the man that Fengni isn't going back. Fengni is deeply moved. The man asks Xing if he truly believes he can protect the sect master. No. Xing replies that nothing has happened yet, so how would he know the result without trying? The man sneers and says Xing doesn't know how terrifying the Gan Security Company is. Someone like him won't last long. Just sending any random squad would be enough to finish him off. Fengni yells at them to stop. She says that if they hadn't come here in the first place, there wouldn't be any trouble. She states that she never wanted to be some dragon sect master to begin with. It was all that damn old man acting on his own, forcing this title on her, and treating her as some chosen heir. If they want to receive whatever talent that is, they can go get it themselves and stop bothering her. She is out of breath from yelling. She adds that if something really happens, she knows Xing will protect her. She turns to him and asks if that's right. He answers yes. Then the two of them turn around and head back. The man clicks his tongue. Meanwhile, somewhere else at the thousand-legged mother's location, Kai Ping's master remarks that he didn't expect number 1 to be beaten to death by a 17-year-old high school student. Even when Cheng Chuan was 17, it would have been hard for him to defeat number 1. This makes him wonder if there really exists a genius even stronger than Cheng Chuan. Kai Ping replies that the situation is different. When his little junior brother was 17, he had only been practicing martial arts for a short time. Kai Ping suspects that the person in the news was probably secretly nurtured by Hidden Dragon Dojo for years, just to amaze the world with a single brilliant feat. His master tells him to forget about it, it doesn't really matter. Even though the expected results weren't achieved, at least a few people died. That should serve as a warning to the board of directors. He throws his phone to Kai Ping, who answers the call. Then the master asks about number 9's situation. Kai Ping reports that it ate number 7 last night. It has only been born for 10 days, but its growth rate is terrifyingly fast. The master concludes that number 9 is currently the most cost-effective, perfect specimen. All future feeding and production will focus on number 9. He also instructs Kai Ping to find an opportunity to let number 9 out and make an appearance. He already knows the high school student mentioned in the news comes from Qingcheng-affiliated high school. That school is the top high school in Qingcheng. He says that if an incident happens there, it will greatly increase public support for that bill. When that time comes, Kai Ping feels a chill run down his spine, but he still answers yes. It is a sunny day. Xing is busy practicing martial arts to become stronger and one day solve all his problems. Even if he can't solve the problem itself, at least he can deal with the people causing them. As he practices, he visualizes himself destroying the GAN security company. The system notifies that he completed a session of the armor shock technique, increasing his physical experience by plus 331. At the same time, when he activates visualization, the training efficiency is significantly boosted. Intersecting sparks, one of the 5 great killer moves of the Hidden Dragon stance, is a defense-breaking technique that injects activated force directly into the enemy's body. With this skill, Xing can shatter even copper walls and iron bastions. Naturally, he wants to master it thoroughly. Suddenly, Fu Guang announces that Xing has hit the jackpot. Xing asks why. Fu Guang explains that when Xing killed the monster at Ruizhu Hotel yesterday, he saved a group of second-generation rich kids. Therefore, Hidden Dragon Dojo received a massive amount of donations, all from those rich second generations. The master decided that every penny of it will be counted as Xing's reward. The total amount is 22 million. Xing's eyes light up upon hearing that number. He even imagines himself lying on piles of cash. He remarks that wealthy and powerful people truly know how to behave. Fu Guang then tells him the master says Xing is too rich now, so he shouldn't practice martial arts as recklessly as before. Then, Fu Guang hands him the plan the old man prepared. It lists his daily consumption. 1 10 tonic soup, 1 kidney nourishing soup, 1 essence nourishing soup, 1 heart nourishing soup, 1 spirit nourishing soup, 4 inhalable tonics, 2 body nourishing medicinal baths, and 8 types of essences. The daily cost totals 208,000. Xing laughs and says it isn't much since he has over 20 million on hand. Fu Guang suggests he turn to the next page. It states that Xing needs to take 1 condensed heart-nourishing pill every week. Price 800,000. There is also an injectable steam medicinal bath he has to undergo twice, costing about 1,230,000. On top of that, he needs a meridian opening massage session every 2 weeks. Price 1,800,000 and 1 session in the high-pressure stone chamber once a month, costing 2 million. Xing's body trembles. Fu Guang tells him to prepare to say goodbye to his 20 million. Only then does Xing realize he is still just a poor scholar after all. Fu Guang then shows him something else on his phone. Xing is on the front page of the Qingcheng Morning Post. Someone leaked the incident of him killing the monster yesterday to the media, and now he has become Qingcheng's hero. Suddenly Xing's phone rings. "It is an unknown number." Xing answers the call, and what he hears makes his face turn pale. The person on the other end is scolding Xing for not coming to class for so long. He is reprimanded for being too reckless, skipping school to work part-time, becoming a so-called hero, and still not returning to school. Xing argues that something happened at home, because the school sports meet will start in a few days. His teacher decided to register him. He is assigned to run the 100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters, 800 meters, and 2,000 meters. In short, his teacher wants him to represent the class. Then, out of nowhere, Shanying suddenly waves at him. So, Xing tells his teacher he has an urgent matter to deal with and will hang up first. His teacher reminds him to be present when the time comes. Xing then asks his 6th senior sister if she was looking for him. No, she tells him, there is a commission specifically assigned to him, and the pay is very high. That immediately catches his interest. She explains that the client is also a martial artist. After seeing the news, the client became curious about Xing and wants to spar with him. The pay is 500,000. Xing's eyes light up. 500,000, just to be a sparring partner. The next day, inside the Inner Ring, North District. The North District is where most high-ranking government officials live. People call them the Northern Aristocrats. It is said that a random person there can earn in just a few minutes what an outer ring household earns in a whole year. He thought that sounded like an exaggeration. Then Xing arrived. Just sparring and exchanging a few moves pays 500,000. It's crazy. However, rich people don't think like ordinary people. To them, that amount is probably nothing. The house is massive, enough to rival half a school. That is when he notices something. Standing at the front door, Wu Guang is waving at him and Xiao. He wonders what those two brothers are doing here. He asks if they were the ones who sent the commission to his dojo. Xiao says he misunderstood. Someone wants to meet him, and they ask Xiao to arrange it. Xing glares sharply at Wu Guang. Wu Guang immediately explains it wasn't his idea. His dad ordered him to do it, and he didn't dare refuse. Xing asks suspiciously if his dad is the one who wants to spar with him. Wu Guang says no. Someone else asked his father for a favor. He looks frustrated, as if he himself doesn't fully understand it either. Xiao offers to explain everything as they walk. He says the person is from an official organization. Which organization? Honestly, he doesn't know. His dad only told them one thing. Do everything possible to please this man. At the party last night, that man personally asked him to arrange a meeting with Xing. Xiao asks if Xing really knows nothing. Xing says no. He wonders who would go through so much trouble just to meet him. His first guess is the Gan Security Company. Before Xiao opens the door, he warns Xing that even though he is strong, he should be careful, because the man inside might be stronger than anyone Xing has met so far. The man is large with a muscular build and braided hair. He looks to be around middle age. He introduces himself as Manhwa. Xing can tell immediately. He greets him politely and notices the scars between his thumb and palm, along with the bullet holes on his shoulder. Those aren't marks an ordinary person would have. They are the marks of a soldier, someone used to killing. Manhwa smiles and says he wants to be friends right away. And in his mind, the best way to make friends is to fight. He jumps off the chair and lunges at Xing. The nearby tables and chairs explode on the spot. Xing clenches his fist. For a moment, he wonders if this man is really from that security company. If that is the case, Xing will take him down. They clash in the center, fist to fist. The impact is so strong that Wu Guang's knees almost give out. Manhwa thinks the kid's hand will be crushed, but Xing is completely fine. He calmly says now it is his turn. Manhwa freezes, unable to understand how that could be. Xing activates Wind and Cloudtail. He slips behind Manhwa and drives both elbows into his back. The strike sends Manhwa flying, sinking half his body into the stone wall. Xiao is stunned. He says that if he took Manhwa's punch head-on, his entire arm would be crippled. Yet Xing wasn't just unscathed. He countered immediately. Wu Guang stares in disbelief, wondering how much more strength Xing is hiding. Xing assesses Manhwa to be nothing more than a normal rich second generation. Manhwa slowly gets up, his entire body trembling. He laughs and says that punch was amazing. He asks why Xing is looking at him like that. Then he tells Xing to keep hitting him. Xing thinks this man is ridiculous, but at the same time, something feels wrong. The Wind and Cloudtail strike that blew away the Roach Man earlier had almost no effect on him. This feeling is so familiar, it reminds him of Chu Ying-kun. So Xing asks if he is an enhanced human. Manyu looks surprised. He didn't expect someone from the outer ring to know about that. He explains that his skin is equipped with a B1 protective membrane, a low-level military enhancement. Its shock absorption capability is extremely strong, especially effective against a martial artist's force. He asks if Xing is tempted, wants to install one. Xing says he has no interest. Manyu sneers. He says he has met 1 or 2 people who answered like that before. That is why so many martial artists refuse to accept reality. Then he charges forward again, yelling for Xing to wake up because times have changed. When he gets close, Manyu claps his hands together. The vibration makes Xing's ears ring violently. Manyu explains that his hands were modified to emit a special sound wave upon impact, causing severe dizziness. Dodging is useless. The closer Xing is, the stronger the sound wave becomes. Manyu confidently declares that the winner of this match will be him, but then Xing places a hand on Manyu's chest and forces him to stop. Manyu looks at him in shock and asks, "How is this possible?" Xing abruptly closes the distance and delivers a powerful punch straight to Manyu's chest. A crash echoes as golden energy bursts outward, cracking the ground beneath Manyu's feet. Since Manyu's skin membrane is very tough, Xing simply pours his force straight into his body. Pain tears through Manyu from head to toe. Xing calmly states that knocking someone down doesn't take much strength. A light strike is more than enough. The speaker attached to Manyu's chest announces that his consciousness has disconnected. Sounds like Xing was supposed to be no match for him. Sang freezes. A communicator was installed inside his body. He asks who they are and what they want from him. The voice replies that he should wait because they are on their way. Xing tells them to hurry up. He is very busy. The voice assures him they won't keep him waiting long. Xiao rushes over, demanding to know what the hell they want. Wu Guang guesses it's some kind of rookie test run by a mysterious organization. Xing says his imagination is too wild. Wu Guang insists it really looks like it. Manyu hears them and tries to suppress a laugh. Xing tells him to get up if he is already awake. That is when Manyu groans, saying it really hurts. He asks how Xing broke his move earlier. Son explains that the core of his sound wave technique is to shock the brain. So all he had to do was use a stronger force to cancel it out. Then Manyu realizes this kid still hasn't used his full strength. He tells the 2 brothers to go play somewhere else. He admits the Pei brothers were right. He is a member of an official organization, and he wants Xing to join them. Xing bluntly states he has no interest in joining any secret organizations, especially after meeting him. If it were a legitimate organization, they should have invited him openly instead of playing tricks and testing him. He says he is very dissatisfied with the organization's style and has absolutely no intention of joining. However, deep down, he knows that even if they asked properly, it would make no difference. He is satisfied with his current life, peacefully practicing martial arts, grinding safely, and occasionally doing containment missions to upgrade his divine skills. It's comfortable, suspiciously comfortable. If Xing joins, he could get one for free. Xing retorts that even with it, Manyu still got injured. Manyu says Xing is a genius, but sooner or later he will discover the limits of the human body. That wall, the point where he can't advance, will drive him crazy. Xing agrees, then refuses again. He says it sounds much more fun to use his original body to crush those modified freaks. Manyu's patience snaps. This kid simply won't listen to reason. The speaker suddenly sounds, telling Manyu to shut up and bluntly saying his recruiting skills suck. Manyu freezes in surprise hearing his captain's voice. The captain tells him to look up. A figure is falling straight from the sky. Xing activates his aiming skill and immediately recognizes her as Void Blade. Both cover their eyes as she lands. Dust and smoke splash around. She greets Xing and assumes he still remembers her as the captain of White Fang Squad 838. Then, she casually explains that the gorilla next to him is one of her squad members. Sang leans in close to her ear and whispers, asking why she is trying to recruit him when she was the one who recommended him to Yu Qing. She replies that this time the order came from her superiors. And besides recruiting, she has a second mission. She asks if he knows the origin of the monster he killed a few days ago. Xing says he only knows it is a creature from the border zones. Nothing more, nothing less. She nods, agreeing it has the characteristics of the border zones, such as possessing a core. The core is the source of power for border zone creatures. But it doesn't necessarily have to be in the heart. It could be in the limbs, nails, or even skin. As long as the core is intact, they can revive infinitely. Xing feels relieved that he accidentally destroyed it back then. Pure blind luck, since it had a core organ. He asks why she said it wasn't exactly the same. She projects a hologram of the thousand-legged mother, a creature from border zone F056, also known as the carrion pit. Its danger level assessment is up to 6.2. Xing asks what this danger level means and what 6.2 represents. She asks back if Outer Ring dojos don't even teach basic classifications. Voidblade asks the gorilla to send his combat data from earlier. Manhwa mutters that he isn't a gorilla, then taps his temple, emitting a soft beep. She receives the data and sees that Xing's current danger level assessment has reached between 2.9 and 3.1. A normal adult male has a danger level between 1 and 1.1. Xing's 2.9 means he is equivalent to 1,280 normal men, while the thousand-legged mother is equivalent to 65,000 guys like him. Xing admits that is dangerous enough. She adds that this is only an extreme case. An unawakened thousand-legged mother has a danger level of only 1.8, and its primary function is reproduction. The thousand-legged mother can absorb the genetic information of anything it eats and give birth to corresponding insect species. It can even eat different organisms and fuse their genes. A month ago, a smuggling ring captured a thousand-legged mother from the carrion pit and smuggled it out. After receiving intelligence, they pursued the smugglers all the way to Qingqing's South District, then lost track of them. And now, thanks to Xing, they finally have a lead. Xing asks if the roach monster he killed was something born from the thousand-legged mother. She confirms he is correct. And since the monster was a roach man, Xing realizes it was created by fusing a cockroach with a human. The thought sends a chill down his spine. Voidblade knows he has realized that the roach man's strength has been constantly increasing. She suspects that whoever is controlling the thousand-legged mother is continuously refining it. And Xing, who ruined their plans more than once, has become a target. Sign understands. Then he asks if the invitation is to protect him? No. She says no. He is only 17, but his talent is exceptional. More importantly, he has the courage to confront border zone creatures head-on. Fang is backed by an agency with the most professional and advanced training system in the entire Old Sea. They can fully unlock his potential in every aspect with no blind spots. Xing knows her pitch sounds perfect. Unfortunately, he possesses a training system superior to all of that from the very beginning. She offers a compromise. Xing can become an external contractor for the White Fang Squad. When needed, they will assign missions, and he will receive corresponding rewards. Manhwa stands listening nearby, completely dumbfounded. Xing becomes suspicious the terms are too generous. He asks if their agency possesses any divine artifacts. She replies yes. One of their internal research departments is the Divine Artifact Research Institute, which houses many divine artifacts. She says, as long as he accumulates enough merits, getting one won't be hard. His eyes instantly light up. He agrees on the spot. With exaggerated enthusiasm, he declares he has been a White Fang fan for 10 years, and becoming an external contractor has always been his dream. They shake hands, sealing the deal. Afterwards, Xing gets in the car and heads home. Manhwa asks the captain if all this is really necessary. Xing is just a martial arts genius, rare but not unheard of. Hearing that, Voidblade replies that Xing is not simple at all. Yesterday, she contacted the eldest young lady of the Wu family again. The importance she places on Xing far exceeds anything Manhwa could imagine. Manhwa asks if she means Wu Yuqing, the natural receiver. He can't believe it. Yuqing has always been looking for a way to get rid of her receiver identity. She once said that only a god can oppose another god. Besides divine artifacts, Xing is the only thing she actually cares about. For that reason, Voidblade suspects he possesses some special quality they haven't discovered yet. She says, even if they don't know what makes him special, they have to keep him first. It is dusk by the time Xing returns. During the trip, he quietly looks out the window at the scenery. Even the most prosperous districts can't compare to a street in the North District. Suddenly, he receives a message from Yuqing, telling him to come to the library when he has time. He replies that he will be there soon. He tells the driver to head straight to Xingxing Library. Before long, he has reached the 7th floor. She tells him to sit down. As soon as he sits, he takes a sip of the drink in front of him. It tastes awful. He tells the boss to prepare something better next time, He wonders how much this woman actually loves that kettle. She asks if he dislikes the tea brewed from water created by his favorite divine artifact. No. He suggests having a glass instead. She says she already knows the White Fang squad contacted him. He replies that they invited him to join White Fang, but he refused. She says he made a correct choice. He asks why. She explains that crows are generally considered creatures of ill omen, birds that signal disaster and death. On the other hand, white crows symbolize rebirth and benevolence that brings good fortune. The name carries beautiful wishes. However, the reason for choosing that name is extremely grim. The mortality rate in White Fang's operations is shockingly high. Since its establishment over 60 years ago, only 3 members have safely survived until retirement. Xing agrees it is indeed dangerous. He silently reminds himself to be very careful with any White Fang missions in the future. The Double Life's revival effect only works once within a short period. Then, he asks about the agency's background itself. She explains its full name is the Abnormal Disaster Emergency Management Special Bureau. After the new era began, Russia established this organization to deal with various abnormal disasters. It operates independently of the 5 major agencies and is commonly known as the 6th Bureau. If Xing joined White Fang, even if he went on a killing spree in Qingcheng or went completely crazy and set off a nuclear bomb, no one would have the authority to arrest him. He finally understands how terrifying the 6th Bureau's power is. Well, he asks if the government isn't worried about it getting out of control. She says there is no need to worry. The agency has 13 high-ranking officials and almost all of them reside in the Azer court. That means the 6th Bureau is essentially its own country. Xing realizes just how vast its influence truly is. Then, she tells him the main reason she asked him to come was simply to remind him about the White Fang matter. Now that he understands their background, he is free to leave. He asks if she has any missions for him. She says no. He asks if she is going to show him any divine artifacts. She says no again. He asks if that's really all, so she adds that if he really has nothing better to do, he can help sweep the library. That makes him jump up and hurriedly say goodbye. Suddenly, his communicator rings. It's that bastard. He completely forgot about it. He answers the teacher's call and says he will be in the South District soon. Keiping's master sits on a creaky staircase, his expression gloomy. A man looking like a joker reports that all the test subjects have been relocated. The master says he didn't expect White Fang's nose to be so sharp, to the point where they actually sniffed out their location. He asks about Keiping's situation. The Joker guy replies that following the master's orders, Keiping has taken number 9 to Zhengli's branches. They are waiting for news soon. Only by using number 9 as bait to attract White Fang's attention can they continue to safely transport the 1,000-legged mother. Otherwise, that thing is too conspicuous and would easily be exposed. The Joker guy adds that the Gan company didn't help at all, forcing them to rely entirely on themselves. The master sneers, saying big companies are always like that, they only want to reap the fruits of others' labor without lifting a finger. If things fail, they lose nothing. And because of that, it's now their turn to act similarly. His disciple remarks that if this succeeds, that scam company might burn the bridge after crossing it. The master calmly replies that he has already taken that into account. He prepared a backup plan long ago. If anything happens to them, that scam company won't escape either. Meanwhile, someone has sneaked into the schoolyard. In his eyes, the students are nothing more than fresh meat. If he can capture all of them and offer them to the mother bug, he will achieve great merit. He notices the girls cheering excitedly for Xing. Looking in their direction, he spots a boy running on the field and wonders if that is Xing. In his mind, Xing looks just like an ordinary teenager. He doubts someone like that could defeat a test subject. But it doesn't matter. Soon, things will become much more interesting. For now, he continues to play the role of a janitor. A student glances at his muscular build and wonders if he is new. The girls erupt in cheers as Xing wins. His friend hands Xing a bottle of water and asks if he really still isn't interested in girls. Xing simply answers no. Then he asks how many events are left for the day. There is the 400-meter race, the 2,000-meter run, and the relay. He asks about the relay race. His friend explains that it's also a running event, so the teacher registered Xing for it too. He quickly adds that he won't drag Xing down. Suddenly, Xing feels something is wrong. He smells blood. He activates the aiming skill. and he sees it, a roach man inside the school eating people. The creature moves through the campus like a tiger charging into a flock of sheep. Xing tells his friend to call the police immediately and report clearly that a roach man has appeared in the school. Then, he tells him to run as far away as possible and don't look back. At the entrance of the lecture building, dismembered bodies are scattered everywhere. The roach man spots fresh meat, a female student trembling in the corner. It slowly approaches the helpless girl. She can only brace herself in despair. Suddenly, someone rushes in. It's Xing. He crashes into the roach man, knocking it back. The creature rolls once and immediately bounces back up. Xing yells at the female student to get out of there. She thanks him profusely and runs away without looking back. Xing decides to wear it down first. He activates double life and double speed. He concentrates all his strength into a single point. He shatters its carapace. Then he blows it away, sending it crashing through multiple walls. Someone staggers out of a nearby room. It is a janitor. He begs to be saved, stammering that he has completely lost control. Xing recognizes him instantly. It's Kaiping. Xing can't understand why he is here. Kaiping says he is from Jinfeng Dojo and needs to find his master to deliver an urgent message. But the roach man returns, and it completely ignores Xing. Kaiping freezes in terror. Before he can let out a single cry, he is devoured. It happens in the blink of an eye. Xing realizes that if not for double life, that moment might have been his end. His finishing blow earlier actually didn't take it down. After devouring Kaiping, the monster turns towards Xing. He watches its wounds close at a terrifying speed. It lets out a roar and charges forward. It's incredibly fast, but Xing manages to dodge at the last second. The creature spins around. As Xing dodges, a tentacle still grazes him. Clearly something is wrong. Compared to the roach man he fought at Ruiju Hotel, this one is larger and tougher. The spikes on its arms and legs have grown larger, and even the pair of antennae on its head have turned into deadly weapons. Xing suspects its genes have been further optimized. He can see this battle turning into a war of attrition. He grabs a nearby fire extinguisher and throws it. The monster slashes through the fire extinguisher. Compressed gas sprays everywhere, obscuring its vision. Xia seizes the moment and attacks. He picks up a piece of rebar and stabs it straight into the monster's head, making it shriek in pain. It spreads its wings. Xing is shocked. It is still operational after that. Then it vanishes. It starts circling him at high speed, clearly trying to disorient him before launching a surprise attack. Xing didn't expect it to have tactical thinking capabilities. He closes his eyes and shifts to visualization mode. Since the angle of attack is unpredictable, he decides not to rely on his eyesight at all. Using visualization, he tracks its movement path. And then he finds it. A familiar sensation wells up inside him. It is the same feeling as when he comprehended the true dragon sweeping through the sea of clouds. He activates a killer move of the hidden dragon stance, transforming into golden scales. Even doing so, he still knows how critical the situation is, with such a huge commotion at school. The White Fang squad will arrive sooner or later. He chooses to stall for time and try to hold out until they get there. The environment has been destroyed. Void Blade hovers in the air, flying with her anti-gravity wing boosters. Less than 5 minutes, and the whole environment has become ruins. She realizes Xing might be in serious danger. A helicopter flies overhead. Voidblade immediately warns it to evade. A tornado has formed nearby. Shanxiao reports to the captain that the lecture building has collapsed. He asks if they are still going down. Voidblade activates her skill. She detects someone inside. Looking closer, it is Xing. The data is instantly synchronized to the entire squad. She decides to save Xing first. The rest of the squad will capture the 1,000-legged mother's spawn alive. Shanxiao notices she pulls out a booster made of dragon bone and wonders why she brought such a crazy gadget to a mission like this. She wonders if the energy storm earlier was caused by the roach monster. She enters the building. She gently taps Xing's shoulder. He reacts violently, swinging his arm at her, but she yells that it is her. He freezes. He breathes a sigh of relief when he realizes who it is. She gives him a fast-acting painkiller pill. He warns them not to lower their guard. The roach man is extremely strong. She notices strange marks on his neck. She tells him not to worry. She didn't come alone this time. She brought the entire White Fang squad. They charged straight at the roach man. Shanxiao feels proud of Xing for the foundation he laid out for them. A woman sucking on a lollipop snaps at him to stop talking nonsense and focus. Damn it! The monster's attack is coming. The roach man attacks. Shanxiao thanks her for the warning as he dashes forward. Suddenly, the roach man coughs up blood. A deep slash has appeared on its flank, delivered by the long black-haired woman. Void Blade calls Shanxiao an idiot, reminding him that she told him to attack from the correct angle. She tells him to watch closely. Dozens of daggers float in the air around her as she lunges at the monster. Then she brings them down in a relentless rain of blades. The roachman's body shatters like glass. She slices it into pieces. King watches and mutters that they truly are professionals. He sees her blades striking the weak points at the joints with flawless precision. Just a light cut is enough to cause the entire roach monster to collapse and shatter. That is when he truly realizes she is on a completely different level. Even with its limbs severed, the roachman is still alive. Void Blade orders Jiyu to stop the bleeding. They can't let it die. Then, she also instructs her to send a request to the superiors for a tracker. Shanxiao walks over to Xing and asks why he looks so battered. Xing replies that he is lucky they arrived in time. Shanxiao says that's obvious. As soon as the captain received the call, they immediately took a helicopter from the South District. He adds that the importance the captain places on Xing is extraordinary. Xing asks if they found anything in the South District. Shanxiao replies that they have searched less than a third of the area, and currently, there are no results. Xing says he has a few clues. Void Blade immediately wants to hear them. He explains that he suspects the Roachman was brought into the school by someone named Kai Ping. Kai Ping is the leader of local thugs, and him appearing in the school was already strange. Plus, he was disguised as a janitor. It's hard not to think this is a trap. Void Blade says this information is extremely valuable and tells Xing to report it to the superiors immediately. But right then, the roach monster bounces up and flees. Xing throws a knife at the escaping monster. Void Blade's jaw drops watching the scene. Manhwa can't believe what he just saw. Xing threw an object with a force equivalent to a depleted uranium armor-piercing round using nothing but his body. The roachman starts falling. Xing casually says that's because Void Blade's knife is good. That answer annoys her. That knife is worth over 10 million. Meanwhile, Xing is thinking about how he also used double life, yet he was still helpless against the roach monster. That is when he truly understands how important weapons are. His arm has turned purple. He also realizes that using that move comes with a heavy price. Void Blade tells him to go back with them so they can drop him off at Hidden Dragon Dojo first. Other things can wait. Xing agrees. Just circulating force alone won't heal an injury like this. He still needs the help of his senior brothers and sisters. The thought of that makes him sigh. He already knows he will be scolded again. The helicopter takes off. They talk about losing another member. Xing asks the captain if she wants to report to the superiors and request reinforcements. Void Blade answers no need. She says if a few more die, the squad's casualty rate will skyrocket, and her year-end evaluation will drop. Xing overhears the conversation and feels uneasy about their casual attitude towards death. He knows he will never get used to it, even if he lives another lifetime. System notifications continuously pop up. Having experienced a life-and-death battle, physical potential has been stimulated, plus 367 physical experience. During the same battle, he delivered the finishing blow, taking down the enemy and feeling a surge of intense exhilaration. Wellness experience increases by 939 points. He also executed a flawless strike, pushing precision to the limit. Aiming experience increases by 1,211 points. His aiming has reached level 6 with 198 out of 3,000 points. Hidden Dragon Force increases to level 5 with 232 out of 5,500 points. Visualization increases to level 5 with 121 out of 2,000 points. He realizes the truth. This growth, while painful, is strangely satisfying. The helicopter continues flying. Xing's aiming skill has leveled up, so he guesses his eyesight should have improved. While in the air, he looks down and clearly sees the cars below. He finds it ridiculous that his eyesight is now better than binoculars. If he combines this with Hidden Dragon Force, accurately hitting a target from kilometers away is no longer an illusion. Next time he faces a monster like the Roach Man, he won't need to get close at all. His chances of survival have significantly increased. The results from the South City are quickly sent over. The investigation team used equipment and confirmed that the pollution rate there has exceeded 10%. Xing doesn't know what pollution rate means. She looks at him in disbelief and asks if he really knows nothing. No. She wonders what they teach in the outer ring. She uses a simple metaphor. Her left hand represents the world they live in. Her right hand represents the other world. When the two worlds collide or overlap, pollution is created. If it is just a slight collision, an impact will occur, and the pollution rate usually stays at 15%. But once a true overlap happens, the pollution rate will skyrocket to around 10% to 30%. At the same time, the physical laws of that area will begin to change. Creatures from the other world might even enter the real world. Xing asks if that's how borderlands are formed. She shakes her head. Borderlands are only created when the pollution rate reaches 100%. They are neither the real world nor the other world. To define such a place, humanity gave it a new name. They called it a subworld. The overlap could happen in the South City at any time, so she warns him not to go there casually. Klein understands. He finally returns to the dojo, where Shanying immediately scolds him. She says he never gives anyone peace of mind. Every time he returns, he is covered in injuries. Even Qingzhao is angry. They apply medicine all over his body. Shanying warns him that if he does this again, they won't take care of him anymore. Xing tries to explain that it wasn't intentional, but he was forced into that situation. She doesn't believe him. She smacks him, and he hurriedly tells her to be gentle. She insists he needs to remember this pain. His entire arm is bruised purple. She doesn't know how long it will take to recover. He explains he didn't want to get hurt either, but there was no other choice. In that situation, he was the only one who could stand up and fight the roach monster. Shanying presses her elbow into his back, making him beg her to be gentler. Yes, she tells him to endure it. This is the only way she can transfer the medicinal efficacy into his body using qi, but her chest ends up pressing against his face. He quickly turns his head away to avoid it. Compared to Shanying, he feels Qingzhao's qi control is much more delicate. The ointment slowly seeps into his skin. Not only does it not hurt, but it also feels comfortable until he senses something is wrong. The master walks into the room and freezes. Qingzhao is on top of Xing. Her chest is pressed against his lower back while Shanying is still pressing her elbow into him. Both girls instantly blush in embarrassment. The master heard that Xing had successfully cultivated the golden scales. For him to be injured this heavily, he couldn't imagine how strong the monster must have been. Xing asks if he knows about Jinfeng Dojo. The master nods. He is familiar with it. Its master, Zhao Hongyuan, exchanged moves with him when he was young. Back then, Jinfeng Dojo claimed their cultivation method could turn limbs into blades. The saying that bare hands are equivalent to being armed sparked his curiosity, so he sought a chance to challenge them. Xing is amazed to hear he fought more than one opponent. The master explains that when their disciples saw their master getting beaten, they naturally rushed in to help. Unfortunately, their internal force wasn't enough. They couldn't break his golden scales skin and were taken down one by one with a single punch. However, he admits that Sect also has real strength. If Xing ever faces them, even if the opponent appears unarmed, he must treat them as if they are wielding a blade. That being said, the master knows it won't affect Xing much either. The golden scales skin of the hidden dragon stance completely counters the Jinfeng white rainbow sword of Jinfeng Dojo. At the same level, they won't be able to break his defense. And if the opponent's cultivation surpasses his, then simply being careful won't save him anyway. Xing suddenly realizes that Lu Xiying used a divine artifact to boost her defense earlier. That is why Kaiping couldn't injure her. That makes him wonder, what rank was Kaiping actually in Jinfeng Dojo? A moment later, Shanying tells him to roll over. Since the back is done, it's time to treat the front. Qingzhao prepares to continue the treatment. The master immediately steps back, saying that healing with cultivation methods consumes a lot of stamina. He knows something is amiss. Xing suggests he can handle it himself. She asks what nonsense he is talking about. They tell him what he needs most right now is to relax and leave everything to them. That makes him blush. Xing might not be interested in romance, but he is still at an awkward developmental stage, and situations like this naturally make him uncomfortable. He closes his eyes and focuses on martial arts techniques instead. Shanying giggles when she notices how stiff he has become. Their hands move methodically as they apply the medicine, and the warmth spreading through his body makes him feel much better. He only feels a slight unease when a fingertip brushes past his waist. So he opens his eyes and sees Qingzhao leaning very close as she works. It feels like a surprise test of his composure. Xianying has noticed his reaction. Qingzhao notices too, her cheeks flushing with embarrassment. Xing hurriedly explains he didn't mean it and his body just reacted on its own. He apologizes. Xianying says that in his current state, they can't continue the treatment. Embarrassed, he insists he will finish the rest himself. They agree and leave the room. He isn't sure if any of that was intentional or not. An hour later, after circulating force for a long time, the skin all over his body still feels numb, itchy, and painful. Only then does he realize just how badly he was injured this time. In the end, it was all due to not fully understanding the skill. The so-called golden scale transformation uses force to link the skin membranes of the entire body together, dispersing and neutralizing attacks. By spreading the force across the entire skin surface, the pressure at any single point is significantly reduced. Now he finally understands the secret behind the unparalleled defense of the golden scale's skin. He also understands why the master said it completely counters the Jinfeng White Rainbow Sword. That technique relies on blade-like force with extremely small contact points. Against a defense capable of dispersing pressure, such attacks naturally become ineffective, as expected of one of the killer moves of the Hidden Dragon stance. None of its techniques are simple. The moves he has yet to comprehend are blood-refining sparks and bone-refining piercing lightning. But he is in no rush. For now, healing comes first. Xing arrives home. Fengni recognizes him the moment he walks in. She waves at him and asks why he is home so late. Then she casually asks if he brought anything good to eat. Sang freezes when he sees her. She has reverted back to a human. He finds it strange because according to the library records, reverting to human form requires a specific method. She explains that at noon she suddenly realized she could transform back on her own. But she says she will be leaving soon, so she decided to stay and keep him company for a while. He asks why she is leaving and if she feels uncomfortable staying here. She says staying by his side will only bring him danger. From the Gan security company, the Dragon Sect, and possibly other threats she doesn't even know about yet. She holds his hands and says that during her days with him, she was happy every day. She felt carefree, just like a real cat. Eating, drinking, playing, and sleeping, never having to think about complex problems. But she is still the sect master of the Dragon Sect, and she knows it is time for her to leave. The tears welling up in the corners of her eyes don't escape Xing's notice. He pulls her into a hug. He says that if he abandons her just because she brings danger, then he would be no different from trash. He tells her to stay. Whatever dangers lie ahead, he plans to face them with her. She asks if she can really stay. No. The moment she hears his answer, her face lights up with joy and she hugs him tightly. The system notifies him that someone has developed a massive amount of goodwill towards him, causing his charm skill experience to continuously rise. At first, it's just plus 668 experience, but another notification quickly follows with plus 784. A third window pops up right after, adding another 851 charm skill experience. His charm skill has advanced to level 7, reaching 131 out of 4,500 points. Xing is stunned normally when girls look at him. The increase is at most a few dozen. That is when he realizes something. He becomes serious and tells her he needs to discuss an important matter. Curious, she listens carefully. Through their conversation, she learns that every time her emotions become intense, it deepens the fusion process with the cattail ring, bringing it closer to the state known as the rebirth of Bastet. Then, he adds that it can't be just any emotion. It has to be the exact same kind of emotion she felt during their first fusion in the bathtub last time. That revelation shocks her. Her face turns red and she becomes cautious. She asks what he is planning to do. He quickly clarifies that this isn't what he wants. It depends entirely on what she wants. She instinctively backs away from him. She asks what he means. He explains that all individuals known to have transformed into Bastet showed no abnormal signs. They simply gained power. Since they have made an enemy out of a massive organization like the Gan Security Company, they need as many protective measures as possible. She is surprised he thought things through so thoroughly. She asks if the information regarding the cattail ring is reliable. Sang replies that he believes his source has no reason to lie to him. She suddenly pushes him down and says they should try it immediately. Panicked, Xing tells her to wait. She explains that he shouldn't misunderstand. She just believes that more power means more safety. Xing says she doesn't need to explain. He understands. She asks how they should proceed. He suggests recreating the conditions of that day. She blushes, but after a moment she nods. They get into the bathtub together and carefully recreate their posture from before. The sensation is so intense she grips his hand tightly. When everything settles down, she wonders if it's done. The cattail ring begins to glow. He reaches out and touches it, absorbing the divinity inside. That's when he realizes that promoting the fusion between the cat and the cattail ring actually generates absorbable divinity. Thinking about it, it makes sense. Deepening the fusion means extracting the power belonging to the outer god Bastet sealed within the cattail ring. His divinity absorption increases to 33 out of 500. An outer god is still a god, so naturally it possesses divinity too. She says she feels a little stronger. He feels it too. With his current physique, even an ordinary person using a knife might not leave a wound on him. He mentions that earlier when she scratched his arm, the skin tore, but now it only left faint marks. She immediately apologizes. He asks if the enhancement is only limited to her physical body. He encourages her to feel carefully if any other abilities have awakened. By now, his divinity absorption has risen to 102 out of 500. He secretly hopes the absorption speed will increase even faster. She raises her hand and reveals her claws. According to her, this technique is called Pioneer Snake Slasher. The feline goddess of war, Bastet, has many titles, and one of them is the Snake Slayer. She severed the chaos serpent Apep, gaining the power to counter anything related to snakes. His curiosity is immediately piqued. Then, she calmly points out that dragons and snakes look almost identical, and she adds that his hidden dragon stance also falls within her countering range. She reaches out and touches his scales. Xing can't believe it. He practiced a dragon-related technique and somehow gave himself a built-in debuff. He quickly explains that it can't be right. The technique is only called Hidden Dragon Stance. It isn't a real dragon. He asks if that still counts as being countered. She proudly states that this is how god-level abilities work. They don't need to be logical. Even techniques with the word dragon in their names fall within her countering range. Xing thinks that is completely unreasonable. But then another thought pops into his mind. With this ability, she can torment the dragon sect however she wants. Once again, she will ensure they have an unforgettable experience. A sly smile forms on her lips as she laughs. Xing pinches her cheek and tells her to stop. Then he tells her to let future problems be solved in the future. Afterwards, they go to sleep. She returns to her cat form and sleeps peacefully beside him. Shang only promoted the fusion of the cattail ring once, yet he obtained a staggering amount of divine matter. In total, he received 309 units, equivalent to an entire golden holy artifact. And only then does he truly understand what divine matter is. If divine matter is the source of power for holy artifacts, then logically, any holy artifact drained of it would lose its power. But in reality, the holy artifacts he absorbed divine matter from showed no changes whatsoever. It's incomprehensible. He decides not to think about it anymore and instead focuses on upgrading his skills. Double Life advances to level 3, requiring 9 out of 500 divine matter to upgrade its passive effect for 2 lives. After dying, he can freely choose his revival time within 7 days. The cooldown drops from 80 days to 70 days. Just as he expected, each level reduces the cooldown by 10 days. That makes him wonder, if he reaches level 10, will revival become infinite? The system then presents him with a choice: physical defense, reaction speed, calculation ability, focus, or memory. He pauses, unsure which passive effect to choose. 3 days later, at Hidden Dragon Dojo, he focuses on strengthening his physical defense. As he throws a punch, the impact ripples outward in visible waves. 3 days ago, he chose to enhance his physical defense. Although reaction speed was also very tempting, the upper limit of the 5 killer moves of the Hidden Dragon Stance almost entirely depends on the body's endurance. He attempts to use a Hidden Dragon Stance technique infused with force. If martial arts is math, then the coordination between movements and force is like assembling complex formulas, and Double Life doesn't change that formula. It is simply added on top. The final power is doubled. Rolling Wind and Thunder is already a punch that can explode with double the power. After solidifying physical defense and stacking the Double Life effect, it becomes almost invincible. When he unleashes the move, the force creates cuts in the air and shatters the ground beneath his feet. Shanying calls him, someone is looking for him. Her tone clearly shows she isn't happy about it. It is Voidblade. She says she has something to tell him. He didn't expect her to show up in person. Shanying asks him who she is, but he can't explain. Voidblade interrupts, asking if he is done talking. She says her time is very precious. Shanying snaps back, yelling that if she has something to say, she should just say it directly and stop acting mysterious. Voidblade calmly replies that only Xing can hear this. That answer only annoys Shanying further. Voidblade then suggests they talk in a place with no people. Xing knows this won't end well. Once outside, he asks what's so urgent that she had to come herself. She tells him to relax. She is just here to deliver a message. He hears that and immediately thinks of Yu Qing. Looking at her expression, he guesses he is not wrong. Voidblade projects a hologram of a young girl. She introduces her as Otogi Suzuka, the third heir of the Otogi family, one of the 6 great conglomerates of the Far East. The katana in her hand is a divine artifact 519. The indestructible katana, its ability is simple and absolute, indestructible. The idea of the strongest spear confronting the sturdiest shield seems too perfect to be true. Voidblade notices his skepticism. Among all known divine artifacts, there is no such thing as an unbreakable shield capable of resisting it. Someone once used a special method to subject divine artifact 519 directly to temperatures exceeding 10 million degrees. The katana remained completely unharmed. He asks if this is a new retrieval mission. She shakes her head. Divine artifact 519 hasn't lost control, so there is no need to retrieve it. He asks what he needs to do. Voidblade conveyed Yu Qing's words exactly. This isn't a matter of her needing him to do anything, but whether he is willing to do it himself? Only then did he understand. Yu Qing wanted him to take it. Otogi Suzuka came to participate in the U-19 Unlimited Combat Tournament. Under normal circumstances, attacking her would cause a severe diplomatic incident. But now, the situation is different. Divine Artifact 519 has a unique property. It chooses its master. If the user of Divine Artifact 519 is defeated by someone else, ownership automatically transfers to the victor. And they know Xing likes divine artifacts. That is why they pushed him forward, encouraging him to take it himself. All he has to do is defeat her in the combat tournament. Once he wins, Divine Artifact 519 will be his. Meanwhile, at the South City docks, a man reports to his master that their little junior brother has stolen all the spotlight in Feng City. With overwhelming victories in 12 preliminary matches, Jinfeng Dojo's reputation has spread rapidly. The master sneers, saying that after winning just a few matches, his disciple has started to become complacent. He lacks stability, enough to become a laughingstock to the world. Another disciple speaks up, suggesting that the little junior brother is a God-given genius, and a little arrogance isn't necessarily a bad thing. Hong Yuan asks if White Fang is still clinging to the incident. The disciple replies that he has silenced everyone involved, leaving White Fang with no way to dig deeper. Even so, he can't help but feel regret that Kai Ping became a sacrificial pawn. Hong Yuan states that he also regrets Kai Ping's death, but it's just a minor obstacle on the path to success. The important thing is to keep moving forward. Beacon asks what will happen to their little junior brother. Hong Yuan replies that the path he must take is different from theirs. He adds that he has no intention of revealing any of their plans to Cheng Chuan. With the finals approaching, there's no need to distract him. Beacon nods, saying he understands. Back to our protagonist. Xing is stunned. He only informed his master that he would participate in the U-19 Unlimited Combat Tournament. Yet they all followed him. Feng Ni, Shan Ying, Qingzhao, and Li are all there. Shan Ying explains that a young boy going out alone is too dangerous. As his senior sisters, their duty is to protect him carefully. Xing immediately asks exactly who among them is the dangerous one. Then he turns to Feng Ni and asks for her reason. With a hint of sarcasm, he wonders if she is also here to protect him. Feng Ni blushes before explaining that they still have to persist with the fusion with Bastet.
Shan Ying firmly replies no.
Shan Ying notices how close his relationship with the cat has become, pointing out that he even brought it along to the competition. Deep down, Feng Ni wants to say that she simply wants to be with him, and Shan Ying should mind her own business. Shan Ying then remarks that it must be hard to train with the cat around and suggests leaving it at the hotel. Feng Ni immediately threatens that if he does that, she will run away from home. Xing is completely speechless. Finally, he can only say that everyone can come along. Inside the dojo, someone is giving a lecture. It is Shan Ying. She warns Xing that with his current strength, there is absolutely no way to defeat Otogi Suzuka. Xing asks what level she thinks he is at. She answers that he is probably around level 3. He asks again if this level system is something specific to Feng City. She proudly states that she invented it herself. Xing stares at her. Unbelievable. She insists that her judgment is backed by solid evidence. Suzuka entered the sect at age 10, becoming the head disciple in just 5 short years, and 3 years later won a title in the martial arts world. Her strength is equivalent to their eldest senior brother. Shan Ying asks Xing if he thinks he can defeat the eldest senior brother. Although Xing hasn't been in the sect for long, he knows there is still a massive gap between him and the eldest senior brother, and if the two of them fought, he knows he would very likely be utterly defeated. Shan Ying is satisfied that he has this level of self-awareness, but that isn't the main point she wants to make. The U-19 Unlimited Combat Tournament is the only tournament in the world that allows the use of weapons. The power of a weapon can greatly influence the outcome of a match. Similarly, a contestant's overall strength is tied to their proficiency with their weapon. She asks him that if he had to choose a weapon that best suits him, which one would he choose? He answers that he wouldn't choose any. He only believes in his fists. She asks again if he would still cling to that belief if she said Suzuka, when wielding a weapon, is as strong as the eldest senior brother himself. That makes him hesitate. She writes some words on the board, sword-wielding technique. Although she has never personally fought the eldest senior brother, she knows he has long mastered all the killer moves of the Hidden Dragon sect. Even if Xing trained his golden scales to the extreme, he would still have a hard time blocking a full-powered strike. And if 9 of them attacked at the same time, there would only be one outcome: total defeat. That is when Shan Ying brings out a savior and tells him to look. It is wrapped in a black cloth. Xing immediately senses it is a good katana. Shan Ying asks how he knows it's a katana. He says it spoke to him. When he opens it, he finds it hard to describe the feeling. It's as if the weapon is calling out to him, whispering, "I want to be used by you." Shan Ying smiles, clearly pleased. She says that since she hasn't given him anything since he joined the sect, this katana will be her gift. Xing asks how much it is worth. She explains that the main material is dragon bone steel, forged together with fine ironstone, moonlight thread, and blood amber. Furthermore, the forger is Grandmaster Hei Jusi. In total, it is worth around 2,000. She dismisses it, saying it isn't very expensive. But Xing knows the truth. It is worth his entire fortune. He accepts the katana. Although he now has a weapon, he still feels awkward. He wonders if it's like in a game where you can perfectly use a weapon the moment you pick it up. Suddenly, he senses danger. Something is flying towards him. Instinctively, he raises the katana and blocks it. It's the master. Shin immediately asks if there are any moves in the Hidden Dragon stance related to wielding weapons. Lai explains that pinnacle martial arts are all interconnected. As he speaks, he pours tea from his cup onto the ground. The moves that can be performed with hands and feet can also be executed with weapons. Xing is stunned when he sees the tea water carve a hole through the floor. The master reminds him that the competition is approaching and he needs to learn a powerful killer move. Without warning, Xing's consciousness is pulled elsewhere. He sees the master swinging a katana. Xing finds himself surrounded by countless swords, one tightly gripped in his hand. At the same time, cuts bloom all over his body. He looks down at himself. His fingers have been severed. Fear surges within him. Then he notices the corpses piling up at his feet. The illusion leaves him gasping for air, his expression twisted, clearly shaken. The master's voice rings out, asking how he feels. Only then does Xing understand. What he is feeling is killing intent. Lai explains that the Asura Blade intent is formed by pushing blood and chi to the absolute limit. Once mastered, it can affect others without physical contact, relying entirely on mental consciousness. Xing asks if there is any scientific explanation behind it. Li replies that their Hidden Dragon stance can summon dragons at will, so scientific logic has no place in this conversation. Since Xing wants to learn weapons, Li offers to teach him the Asura Blade intent, even without the proper physique or killing techniques. Just swinging the blade with that intent is already a feat. They start right away. Xing says sparring with him is a bit too much. Li asks what he is thinking and says Qingjiao will spar with him. He's instructed not to think about techniques or forms. All he has to do is attack Qingjiao with real killing intent. If the opponent is her, he won't hesitate to hold back. He swings the sword at her, but she neatly dodges. She counters with a sharp karate chop, but he manages to slip away in time. Then he tightens his grip on the sword handle. The master tells them to do it again. Lee observes closely and realizes Xing also has talent with weapons. At this rate, a week is more than enough. Maybe just 4 days. That is his estimate before a disciple suddenly rushes towards him. The disciple reports that someone claiming to be from Jinfeng Dojo has barged in and seems to be looking for trouble. Before he can finish speaking, someone pushes him aside. A young disciple from Jinfeng Dojo steps forward and challenges Xing to a life-and-death duel. Xing asks who he is. The man introduces himself as Li Chengchuan, a true disciple of Jinfeng Dojo. He declares that if he wins, Xing will have to answer one question. Xing remembers seeing his name on the participant list Yu Qing gave him. That's when he realizes this dojo is connected to the Roachmen. Li allows Xing to exchange a few moves with him. He tells Xing not to worry, this is still his master's turf. Xing tells Chengchuan he accepts. Baijing already knows Xing. He is the one who killed number 1 and number 9. He warns Chengchuan that his opponent is very strong and tells him to be careful. Chengchuan dismisses it, saying he has seen plenty of guys who look strong on the outside but are weak on the inside. Chengchuan tells Xing that since he is older, Xing should call him Brother Li. He leans in and whispers that Xing should relax. Big Brother here will go easy on him. After all, this is Xing's turf. It wouldn't be good if he lost too much face. Xing can only sigh. He tells him he talks too much. He plants his katana into the ground and vanishes. Chengchuan freezes in confusion. Xing appears behind him, preparing to strike. But Chengchuan acts as if he anticipated it. He forms his hand like a blade. Xing clenches his fist and throws a punch. Their fists collide head-on. Chengchuan is pushed back. His eyes light up as he realizes Xing is not simple at all. Xing silently admits it. The Jinfeng White Rainbow Sword truly lives up to its reputation. His fist is bleeding. It feels strange. This is his first real battle with a martial artist. All his previous enemies were cyborgs or roach monsters. He is glad to finally face a worthy opponent. Chengchuan charges forward. He swings his hand like a blade towards Xing. Xing blocks the attack with his reinforced forearm. The strike only leaves a light scratch on his dragon scales. Chengchuan stares in shock at the golden-scaled skin. Xing is only 17. He presses to know how Xing has cultivated to that level already. Xing answers by punching him and telling him to shut up. While in the air, Xing unleashes a flurry of punches. He wonders if the Jinfeng White Rainbow Sword also helps strengthen the body. Anyone else would have collapsed after 2 or 3 punches, yet Chengchuan has endured dozens, like a man of steel barely budging. Then Xing spots an opening. He activates double life. Just as he is about to deliver the blow, someone yells for them to stop. Xing is startled, but he immediately withdraws his hand. Hong Yuan steps forward and says, "This is just a sparring match. There's no need to deliver a killing blow." Chengchuan is already injured.